Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Politics on the Rocks. That was Let the Rain Come Down by the show fan favorite, Brent Cobb. I'm your host, Nick. To my right, Chris.
Happy New Year.
Oh, across the table, Bookie.
Good day to you.
And in front of me, Cameron.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Happy New Year, everyone. We hope everyone stayed safe, got COVID, so you have those strong antibodies and didn't die. And yeah, that's it. Base Bro of the Week, we'll just get that out of the way really quick. I think we all agreed that we're nominating AOC as the Base Bro of the Week for coming to Florida and catching COVID. That's a pretty base thing to do, I feel like.
Coming to party, too.
Yeah, coming to party, right. Before the episode, we were talking about it, and I'm like, I don't know, it doesn't make sense, but saying it now, it's pretty fucking base.
She leaves the place that's locked down-ish.
Yeah, the place where it's like spiking.
Yeah.
I guess Florida's kind of spiking.
But, she can't do what she wants to do. So she comes to Florida where you can.
Yeah.
Gets the cron.
That's, why we have the separation of states, the 10th Amendment. You can, if you're on lockdown in New York and you're a shitty politician that supported all of those things, you can just leave and go to a different state where their politicians aren't such assholes.
And people are okay with having fun, right?
But it's really awkward when you're the politician. That's the asshole,
Yeah, that is a little
that
awkward.
makes it a little awkward.
Yeah.
Right?
We all make mistakes.
Also, wasn't there a big house fire in the Bronx that killed over 10 people? I think where is AOC? Where is she when people need her?
That's her
the
area,
most?
right?
Yeah.
Where was she though? Was she in Miami?
Yeah.
Miami
I don't know.
Beach?
She might have been back in New York by now.
Oh no,
but
she
she's
was
inside,
though. She was in Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was getting crunk.
Yes, she was.
She was turning up.
And now she has COVID and she can't be there for her people in their time of need.
Oh god.
That's so sad.
Yeah, because God knows that she was going to provide an enormous amount of comfort.
Yeah.
That reminds me when she was complaining how her grandmother or whatever couldn't do something because of something. I think it was health insurance or coverage. So was it Ted Cruz? He started a GoFundMe to raise a bunch of money for AOC's grandmother.
Yeah.
And they raised millions of dollars. That was pretty funny. So this week we are gonna be talking about the Jizz-lane Maxwell case, some of the stuff with that, and then we're also going to be talking about Ron Desantis, Daddy D, the Freedom First budget.
Wow.
His proposed his Freedom First budget for fiscal year 2022. So that'll be fun, and I'm sure we'll get off topic and talk about all sorts of other shit. So, Bookie, want to jump right in?
Yeah, we're going to start with Jizz-lane. All right. So, Cam, you want me to start off with a...
Please start it off.
Okay.
Please.
Thanks, dude.
You're far
He's
better
saying
at
that because
this
he
than
didn't research shit this week.
No,
I know.
I have a...
He's got a thick paper over there.
I did.
I've seen him. He dropped that notebook down, almost collapsed the table on us.
Yeah.
All right. But, so we're going to go over...
A deep dive into the pedophiles.
All right, dude, let's not label these people. We don't know for sure. No. It's I go complete 180 on this.
Yeah, you have the complete opposite take we expect you to have.
I'm when
are
you
you
leave,
working for the FBI?
make sure the door is locked behind you.
Yeah. Bookie opens up. He's like, Jizz-lane Maxwell, who's wrongfully accused of.
She's
wait,
actually
what?
a feminist, just taking the rap of the man that did everything. But, no, so yeah, we're going to go over the Maxwell trial, the verdict, and the possible censoring that people were kind of talking about once everything was done with the trial. So, in case anybody's been under a rock for the past, really...
2 years?
Yeah, 2.5 years, right? When did...
At least.
Oh,
When did
yeah, because
Epstein,
Epstein happened before COVID.
Yeah. So maybe 3.
Yeah,
So-
at least 2.5.
Jizz-lane was Epstein's pretty much unofficial second-hand man and everything. Some would even say she was probably the brains of it all. If you don't know, it's pretty well known that the Maxwell family, so her father, is pretty much outed as a spy for Mossad.
Yep.
And so the family itself is a family that runs intelligence. So that's what he did in, I think, England. He had a media company. I think her sisters are like super smart and all in tech. So they do information and intelligence and tech. And then Jizz-lane went this route, which is a classic honeypot. So her and Epstein, had some well-off donors give them very nice properties and land. Well, I think the place in New York is like one of the top real estate spots in New York itself.
That was
like the
Les
biggest-
Wexner's house, right?
So-
Is that
yeah.
what the one that
It's like the biggest piece of real estate that isn't broken up in Manhattan.
Yeah.
I think
It's just a donation, dude.
when he bought it, which was I don't know a while ago, it was valued at like $77 million.
Holy
and when
shit.
they sold it, it was valued at like some preposterous amount of money.
I'm sure absurd.
It's like in I want to
mean-
say it's like $500 something million.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm mistaken. Didn't Les Wexner give?
He gave Epstein money.
No. He gave him control of a lot of his financial accounts. Also,
yeah.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, 'cause
He
that's-
didn't give him the house.
that
he was
That's right.
supposedly like this
Yeah,
investor guru.
not to get on Epstein too much,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's what Epstein was kind of like his
Right.
front was. I'm a finance guy. But so
Oh, he was also like an engineering professor at MIT for a short time.
Mm-hmm.
Who was?
Epstein, he finessed his way. I don't know about engineering, but he finessed his way into a
like,
professor
he
role.
was, he was an MIT
Yeah.
alumni.
Wow.
But so again, that was their big deal. Those two, they had a honeypot ring. They had an island. They had a place in Palm Beach in Florida. They had a place in New Mexico, I believe New Mexico, and they had a place in New York. And they had multiple jets that would fly between those places consistently with logs of people we would know we'll get into later. And allegedly, and pretty much uncovered for the most part now, is they sex trafficked. They would sex traffic females, and I would assume males too, but no one's really come out yet
Yeah.
about that. Typically underage, so anywhere from between 14 to 17, because I guess Epstein liked them young. And they would bring them, and Jizz-lane's
Allegedly.
Jizz-lane's role, again, kind of being the head of it, was finding these women, grooming them, making sure they're in the right place, right time to give massages to people, and Epstein himself. So, with the case that went on the trial, she was. There were 6 counts towards her. Let me see here if I can read this off real fast. So the 6 counts that were being tried at the trial. Let's see. Conspiracy to entice a minor to travel to engage in illegal sex acts. Enticement of a minor to travel to engage in illegal sex acts. So out of these 6, you'll see one is a conspiracy. So it's to, what am I looking for? To plan with people.
Yeah,
It's like
with a group
with a group of people to do these acts.
Collude.
Collude, thank you. And then the next count would be to actually follow up on that and do what the collusion was about. So the next one is conspiracy to transport a minor with the intent to engage in criminal sexual activity. Transporting a minor with the intent to engage in criminal sexual activity. Conspiracy to commit sex trafficking of minors, and then sex trafficking of minors. And then, Cam, if you want to take a couple things off real fast, but just a few things that I just wanted to mention before the trial started. Obviously, with Epstein and her, I mean, the conspiracy theories, and I say that not as a derogatory term, but just a general, I guess, non-mainstream media outlook on things. One thing that happened that people kind of had a raised eyebrow was the initial judge before the trial started was put into, what was it, by Biden himself, to a different appeals court.
Yeah. She
So-
was promoted, right?
Yeah, so that was changed out. And during the trial,
And the prosecutor was also what's her face's daughter, right?
yeah, I looked into that.
Comey.
I didn't really see how that really I mean, again, it probably does.
No, I agree.
But it wasn't
I was kinda like
she was
what
one
does
of
that really
many.
mean? Right.
And again, there's not. It probably does account for something, but the information you're gonna find in that is slim at best.
Mm-hmm.
But with the prosecution, so the state going after Maxwell, really relied on 4 women. I don't have their names, so I can pull it up real fast. So these 4 women, they relied on these for their case, and we'll go into more. But Cameron,
Yeah. So kind of like the way I looked at this, instead of like looking at like the minute like details of every single thing that happened in the trial or anything like that, I looked at it like kind of as like this is the closing of the whole like Epstein, story.
Right, like this will probably be the last we ever hear about it.
This is the last thing, and everybody had like high hopes and everything about like what could possibly take place in this trial.
I mean, the whole Q thing was pretty much centered around this whole thing. Like,
yeah, it's definitely part of it, right?
There's a big factor in it.
Yeah, so instead of like looking at, like I said, like just by piece by the trial, but I looked at it as like, okay, here's the like conclusion of like this entire story that's been 2 years, and so it the beginning of it is Epstein getting arrested, they sweep the house, they find these all these log books and these CDs, and then all of a sudden those go missing. So there's like this, crazy conspiracy there, to all of a sudden the FBI just like kind of like the narrative is that they went in, they found all these tapes, but they didn't have a warrant to take anything from the house. But
right? Didn't they screw something up?
Yeah. So like, the warrant, I guess, was.
That to me absolutely makes no sense.
Yeah,
because I think if you have a warrant to break into somebody's house, what stops you from like removing things from the house? I mean, isn't that the point of
to go? Yeah, and also if it only if the warrant only covers a certain part of the house or only covers certain types of items or something,
right?
Like these are FBI agents. This is like our top law enforcement.
Yeah,
like you would expect maybe a local law enforcement force to fuck that up.
Right.
But you're the FBI, you're going to Epstein Island, you're on a fucking boat to get there or a plane, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Like you have to have a plan, right? You have to know what the fuck you're doing.
That was the house in New York. Or the apartment in New York.
It wasn't until quite after
Yeah.
the fact that they went to the island.
Yeah.
Oh, that was when
And
they
initially
saw
started
the,
with the Manhattan property.
That was when they saw the photo of Bill Clinton with the red high heels on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, the reason I bring that up, not to get off topic, but it's like this is like a whole series of like things that happen, right? So then he gets arrested, and then he supposedly kills himself, right? He killed himself. Obviously, that probably didn't happen, right?
Yeah.
And then the guards get.
He's still alive, bro.
Yeah.
But he's hanging with Diddy and Tupac.
Yeah. And Trump's still.
Or no,
president.
Biggie and Tupac.
Yeah.
Diddy's not dead yet.
No, but then the guards get arrested or whatever, or taken aside, and then nothing happens. There's no footage. It's a crazy thing, and because they were going again bringing up charges on the guards. It was an active crime investigation, so no one could really look at the autopsy. And then there's so much to this whole thing, and then obviously the alleged people that flew in his plane, some people 20, 30 times, and
Clinton.
Yeah, Clinton. I'm sure Bookie wants to bring that up. Yeah, I mean, there's so many of Bill Gates, Prince Andrew. John Glenn. There's so many of them, but I don't know. To me, like this was a whole like series of events that, if you just look at them and just took them at face value, you have to question of like.
Yes.
You should be if you just took it as it is and just said okay, like I think like you should be a bit more skeptic. Like
I think
so much there,
I think for people like us too that are just kind of like naturally skeptical of pretty much anything the government does, it's definitely like right off the bat you're like, oh, something's weird here.
Yeah.
But I can see how someone who isn't quite as skeptical would like maybe convince themselves that,
there's nothing going on here.
Because you just have like, trust in the system, like the coroner system and all these different hands that this information has to go through before it gets like made public. But when you're already skeptical of the system, that some of these people could easily like at some point, like intercept the data before it's made public or intercept a person who is responsible for handling it and, turn them and convince them to falsify it or something.
Right.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
anything could happen, but You
But
know?
yeah, anyways, I
don't know, though.
bring that all up to say that like this trial ended, with guilt. What 5?
5 of 6. Yeah.
5 of 6 charges against Jizz-lane Maxwell, and I just feel like I'm not happy with that.
So which one was she not charged on? The more grievous one, the sexual.
No, she was not
trafficking?
guilty. So she was.
It was basically the one that said intent to bring children for sex, right?
No, the
Transporting.
conspiracy to entice a minor to travel to engage in illegal sex act. She was found guilty for conspiracy,
but not
the enticement of a minor to travel to engage. That was the one she was not guilty of.
Okay, but
Which is strange because she had like a whole recruitment operation where she was telling these kids, "Hey, if you bring friends, we'll give you a bonus, essentially,
Yeah.
on top of whatever we've already paid you."
Yeah, and if you listen to like some of like the, Jane, I guess is what they were calling one of the girls.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the stuff that she brings up about like the orgies and stuff that she had to participate in and she was what 14.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jane was 14.
Yeah, it was. I mean, pretty gnarly stuff.
Wow.
Nevertheless, though, I just feel like at best it's like a cover up, like, and the prosecution never really, went to. I don't know anything like who else was participating. Why is that like not
Right? Why is that the end of the story?
Yeah, and I'm sure like the prosecution makes it like about like this is the game. This is what we're doing. Us against her kind of thing. And I'm sure like that's the thing. But also I look at it as like I don't know. It just seems like a giant cover up, and then like one person takes the fall.
Yeah,
that's
she's
it.
the fall guy, kind of.
And I feel like if you're like looking at it as like a Me Too person or somebody like that, like. There's no outrage or anything, like, right? I mean, doesn't that seem odd?
Yeah,
It's definitely quiet.
especially
quiet.
knowing what we know about the island and what they were doing and how many people were involved, for everyone to be so quiet and sit back, okay with that. Jizz-lane is the only one that's gonna, face charges for some of these.
Yeah,
crimes
to me,
against children is
To me, it almost
like I mean,
kind of-
she's not. I mean, she's not the one having sex with him.
yeah,
really.
maybe a little bit. But
I mean,
not.
maybe yeah. I mean,
that we know of.
yeah. I mean, there's some like weird line there, right? But I mean, right?
But to me, it almost like just confirms in a way that like a lot of these people involved were super powerful, high level people.
For sure, for them to be able to
That's
just
how she's being made the fall guy, and the trial is there's kind of like a purposeful intent to just make it about Jizz-lane. It's Jizz-lane's trial.
if we're gonna put our tinfoil hats on here for a second.
I can't call her anything but Jizz-lane.
But I don't even think you really have to put on.
No. You're absolutely right. I say that just as just to say it, but
Precaution. Yeah.
right. So do you think you're right. You don't have to though, because this is literally what happened, right?
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, this is
they had an
literally
island,
a giant conspiracy,
right?
Yeah.
So. Do you think in these sort of situations where there's really powerful players, in this kind of game, do you think that they kind of all come together with Ghislaine and they're like, listen, you're the one under the microscope, like, you kind of automatically assume the fall guy position, like, you're the one that's going to take it on the nose for us, like, to stay, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you think that kind of conversation happens?
I don't know if that conversation happens.
Or
I think
do
it's
you
like
think
known.
it's just like excommunicado? They're like, no, she's taking the fall. Like, we don't need to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably a mixture of both. I think it's one of those things where like she knows what's going on, right? She knows like no
Right.
one's coming. Like I have to take this.
Yeah,
You know.
it's kind of a realization before you kind of even go into it. You're
Yeah.
like, yeah, if I'm the one gets caught, I'm going to be the one that gets caught.
Yep.
Kind of deal.
Now I did want to go into the women, the 4 women who were the main people who.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea. I just wanted to bring up like from a larger perspective.
Yeah, it was good.
It's definitely.
You think Jizz-lane's
sketchy.
she's like a bad bitch? Like when they're interviewing her, she's just like, I ain't no narc, and then they just fucking like,
I mean, she's
staple her
I
fucking
think
hands to
it's
the chair.
I think it's like,
Just like,
a known that either she falls for it or she like really falls. You know what I'm saying? Like they kill her.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, that's
Right,
the way I
like
look at it.
you don't go with the narrative and
Yeah.
you die. So
And also, I mean, she's not stupid. She's
No.
looking at this thing like she
Well,
knows.
she's
she knows
the-
Jeffrey Epstein.
she's
and
the
she knows how
child
much-
of a spy.
Yeah,
She
And
knows how connected he is. Right. Yeah,
exactly, bro. And she's
Like,
looking at. She knows that dude didn't kill himself.
Yeah.
So
the interrogator comes in. He's like, listen, I'm paid by Prince Andrew, so we can do this the easy way, or we can do this the hard way.
Also, like, I mean, this is just speculation, but how does it? Let's see how it really plays out in time, right? I mean, what does she do? I mean, supposedly, it's like a 60-year conviction.
Yeah,
Let's see what happens.
obviously, the judge is up.
It's up to
it's up to him, but it's up to 65.
So she
years.
hasn't been sentenced yet.
No, there's no date yet either to sentencing.
They're gonna kill her before then, probably.
So is she just sitting in a prison somewhere?
Yeah, but so I did want to go on. Speaking of Prince Andrew, one person that a lot of people were kind of curious why she was not a part of the case was Virginia, and I'm not going to mess up her name. Gouffre?
Was she the blonde one that was pictured? Okay.
So she's the
There
most.
was another Roberts, right? Wasn't that one another?
Might be, but I don't.
I think that was with the Epstein case. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, you're fine. So Virginia Gouffre, or however you want to pronounce that last name, she's been the most vocal about Epstein and Jizz-lane. So she came out a while ago about Prince Andrew. She's like, he's one of the guys they made me, have sex with with other high priority men. So people were wondering, why is she not a part of the case? Why is she not testifying? And obviously, like Cameron stated a little while ago, the prosecution's kind of looking at this in a sense of,
I remember her now.
Of this is about Jizz-lane, and if we kind of bring her into this may distract from Jizz-lane, and trying to keep it onto her instead of bringing like Prince Andrew and all them. Which obviously we've kind of had this small bit of this conversation, but you can get to a bigger of like, well, if that's your job, then yeah, that's fine. You're doing it. But as like maybe a community or as a people, we're like, this is fucked up shit going on. Maybe we don't get Jizz-lane, but we uncover all this shit and we find out who really is fucking underage girls.
That's like one of the things that makes me think that there was something to like the prosecution. Like, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer or attorney, so I don't understand exactly how it works. But for me, like, I would think that it wouldn't just be her as the priority. It would also be like everything that surrounds her, right?
Yeah. What?
If you're talking about like the kids, like getting whatever molested and raped and all this other stuff, it's like, I don't know.
You'd almost think that she would be. I hesitate to say this, but you would almost think that Ghislaine would be like an afterthought. Like, let's get all these sick bastards who are physically touching these kids, and then we'll deal with this bitch.
I mean, that's what you would think,
right?
I would think.
Yeah. So it's one of those things too. It's again, we could talk about this forever, and it might be interesting, but it's this thing where is the prosecution, is their job, they want to do that and possibly lose the case, and then again, we've talked about the law and the state it is. The judge, the prosecution, the defense, it's all a game. They want that win. They want that W.
Right.
Because that W looks really good. In this case, too, if you're the prosecution, it looks fucking great. Right?
I put Jizz-lane Maxwell
behind bars. Like, that's going to be like a tag of your name for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Whereas, if they were a little bit more less gamey and gamifying it, and they're like, hey, let's just uncover all these pieces of shit who did all this, and we may get her, we probably will not. But at least we uncover all these names. It's out in the public now. They can't hide, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like a lot of times they probably have a view of, like, it's almost like, a sports team when, like, when you ask Bill Belichick about who you're playing, like, next week or something, he's like, I'm not thinking about the Jets right now. We're playing the Dolphins this week, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, you get through this trial and you prove that Jelane's guilty, and then you move on to the next one.
Yeah, and so that's the other part of it. That may be there may be more.
Maybe this is a precursor.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, but the way I was looking at it is like, this is it. This is it's probably going to end here, and then like you'll never hear anything else.
I think that's gonna be the case.
Me personally, not like particularly pleased with, but I know what you're saying, Book.
Yeah. And I'm not saying I agree with what they're doing, but that's could be what they're looking at in a sense. They want that W. But back to the four women. So the first one, they're all, what's the name? Pseudonym? Jane is the first one. Let me go with this. Kate is the second. Carolyn is the third. And the fourth is
Virginia?
Annie Farmer.
Oh.
No, yeah, Virginia Roberts Geoffrey or whatever, she wasn't in this case.
No, yeah, she was that woman I was talking about earlier that they didn't want to bring. They did mention her a few times in the case, and there's people who testified who were able to identify her, but she was not testifying herself.
Gotcha.
I do want to read a little bit of Jane's, and this is actually from CNN, but they did like a summary of what she stated. So I'm just going to read a little bit first because it is pretty like, if you've never read it, it's like, kind of like, damn, dude. So
Yeah, it's gnarly.
So Jane testified she met Maxwell and Epstein in 1994 when she was 14 at a camp where he was a benefactor. So that's what they did a lot too. And you can have to get into Epstein more, but he was very connected, and you can listen to people who know better than me about how connected he was, right? He was part of MIT. He, did finances for very, very wealthy, connected individuals. He benefacted a lot of places. They had their hands in a lot of things, just so they pretty much had their palms in everything. Again, this 14-year-old girl is at a camp.
Side note, everybody that's at like the philanthropy party,
Yeah.
not always a great person.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Sometimes it's
They
just
want you to think they're great people.
Sometimes it's a convenient way of moving money around.
That's
right?
it.
Yeah.
So,
Or finding young
Children
girls.
to have
Yeah,
sex.
Yeah.
exactly.
just a little thing. So Jane at 14 and her mother met Epstein for tea in Florida. He said he could mentor her. She then started going to Epstein's home by herself. At first, Maxwell and Epstein made her feel special, spending time with her, asking about her family and interests, and talking to her to do fun things, she said. For the first 2 months, Maxwell felt like an older sister, she said. It changed when the abuse started happening. Jane described in graphic detail incidents of sexual abuse with Epstein that Maxwell would at times join in on, both in Palm Beach, Florida, and in Manhattan when she was 14, 15, and 16 years old. At times, Epstein would masturbate on her and molest her, and she said Maxwell would sometimes be involved, touching her, and Epstein, she testified, at least once Maxwell instructed her how Epstein liked to be massaged while the three were in Epstein's massage room, she testified. It seemed very casual, like it was very normal, like it was not a big deal, she said. It made me feel confused because that did not feel normal to me. Again, it's like a 14, 15-year-old girl. Mm-hmm. She said it took her years before she was able to tell anyone about what happened, saying she felt shame and disgust and confusion. On cross-examination, defense attorneys combed through her statements to law enforcement since 2018 to try to show inconsistencies with her testimony in court. That's pretty normal. And the statements, Jane told law enforcement agents that she wasn't sure if Maxwell ever touched her, and she didn't remember Maxwell ever being present for any sexual activity between her and Epstein. Jane repeatedly testified she didn't recall if she'd said that to investigators. Law enforcement notes for these interviews, Maxwell. Yeah, so again, that's just like a little blurb about Jane. And obviously, the other stories are pretty similar. They usually find these girls, or they have people find these girls, they bring them, they entice them with, again, being very nice, and then kind of put them in these positions.
And a lot of the times,
money.
a lot of the times, these girls were from like low income schools and like troubled family life. So I know knee jerk reaction is to think like, where the fuck were the parents letting these girls just take off with this strange rich guy and his girlfriend? A lot of the times, the parents weren't really in the picture.
Well, in Jane's case, like she actually mentions her mom, and her mom told her, "Do not say anything." Pretty much told her that, like, you just shut your mouth and go with it.
Yeah.
Like, look at all the things you have now because of him. So, in other words, her mom was a real piece of shit. You know, I mean, I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah, she's not going to win Mother of the Year.
No, she
Yeah.
definitely doesn't win that.
We just saw that with that CNN producer guy that was like, he was like paying moms to bring their like 14, 15-year-old daughters for him to do like, sexual stuff with.
Yeah.
That was a CNN guy?
Yeah.
That was.
He worked for Fox News at some point too.
That happened right before, I think, Christmas, that was released.
Yeah. So
Weren't there like
there's a lot
2
of
or 3
parents that
more
are
that came out?
fucked.
I don't know if there's.
I remember that.
There's like maybe one more, and then
Maybe
there's
one more.
obviously the Don Lemon thing, and all that going on there. But
On that moment.
so
Lemon.
again, they had a lot of people testify. Epstein's pilot was one of them. He did identify 2 of the witnesses, so I think it was Jane and Kate. Maybe he pointed out. So again, this is being cross-examined, corroborated that these people were there. There's obviously pictures too. All these stuff is being made public now. A major witness that I thought was his housekeeper. His housekeeper testified against him. This guy's name is Juan Alisi, and
I know that guy.
yeah, right. He's a good housekeeper. He cleans up after sex toys and doesn't say anything for a couple of years. But yeah, so,
shit of everything.
yeah,
Until the checks stop rolling in.
exactly. So that's what he was. He was a housekeeper. He kind of, he mentioned that Maxwell was acted like the lady of the house in Palm Beach. He would always see beautiful women around the pool, topless. He mentioned that some would every now and then look, underage, whatever that means. I mean, to a point, you can make sense, but yeah, he identified Jane in Virginia. He would actually pick those girls up and move them around. So he'd pick them up from like their house, move them to the Palm Beach. He'd move them to like different areas within the Miami area. He would clean the house. He would clean the massage room. So he went into detail about this. He would like go in afterwards, clean up the sex toys. He'd put them in a box that he called like Maxwell's toy box.
Oh yeah,
and
there wasn't there a giant black dildo
probably
that he like specifically talked about for some reason.
It might have been. I didn't see that part.
Double-sided.
He's just like really infatuated with this dildo. He's like, can you just get on? He's like, no, but it was like, girthy.
He's like, and sometimes meet the Epstein and I.
You're like,
and sometimes we're gonna play with these. Sometimes here and I.
You're like, he said, you want extra 500? Like, maybe I do. But no, it was.
We called it Madam Maxwell's hammer.
Yeah, the Maxwell hammer.
Madam Massa hammer.
But it was weird because one thing he did testify as well is I guess he went through Maxwell's desk. Doesn't seem like something a cleaner would do unless you're trying to steal. And he mentioned that he had found naked pictures of girls in there. So, again, him trying to set up this view of her grooming women, finding women. That was a pretty interesting one just because he was his housekeeper for, I think, 20 years.
Kind of like ruined his reputation as a housekeeper.
Yeah, I mean, he probably...
He's like, sometimes I go through your stuff, sometimes I don't. I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes I don't know, and sometimes I do know.
His current employer's like, what the fuck is this guy going through my shit too?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean those were like the main witnesses that were kind of brought up. There's like I think maybe 24 people spoke for both sides. Obviously cross-examined. What am I trying to look through here? The only other one. Oh no, never mind. That was actually it. Do you have anything Cam say before I finish up?
No, you can wrap it up.
Okay, so and we went through real fast. I think we mentioned what she was found guilty on. It was 5 out of the 6 accounts, and the only one was the enticement of minors. She was not found guilty of. And then after this all happened, a lot of people came out and were like, "Hey, the records are being sealed." This was a big thing because now they're trying to put 2 and 2 together, saying the prosecution won, but now there's a deal that you can't see the records anymore. Certain things were sealed off. So I kind of looked into that, and it was one of those things where it's a half truth because obviously all the pilots' records, the people who had to sign in and be on the plane are still available. I mean, there's fucking databases you can go on and search people's names, and it'll tell you how many times fucking Chris Tucker was on
right.
it.
Yeah, it's all gone through. It's all been gone through a million times now.
So it's all out there.
Yeah.
The main thing they were talking about which is actually pretty interesting, is his black book. That's the big thing everybody wants to know.
Yeah.
Supposedly it's been leaked. A couple of websites apparently have leaked it.
Probably difficult to verify. If
Exactly. It's difficult to
real or
verify. Some of it's still redacted, the stuff that has been leaked.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the names that are on there are like the Clintons, Trump, people like that. And so that's the main thing people are talking about when they're saying sealed. But this happened before the case actually started, which kind of goes into more of like the prosecution trying like either not wanting to get into that shit because there's too many powerful people on there just going to kill them. Or it's one of those things where like, hey, we just really want to keep this about Jizz-lane. If we open that literal can of worms, we could lose this case. Again, I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but maybe that's the thought process they had. So the defense and prosecution, before the case started, agreed to not use that book publicly in the case. But I do believe the jurors and the attorneys actually were able to look at it.
We got to track down one of these jurors, get them on the show.
But it was kind of unclear, though. They said they were able to look at the book, but only to information that was part of the actual...
need to know.
Yeah, like this person's name's mentioned in the case, you can look at that name, see if it's on there.
Yeah, so it's probably like redact. It's probably just all black lines.
Yeah. So, and again, so it's not necessarily that it's been sealed because of it's just one of those half truths that kind of got out there. It could still be for the same reason these people are mentioning it, in the sense that it was a deal, but it happened way before the actual verdict came out. If you believe the verdict was true.
That's another part of it. Like, they could have offered a deal with her. you know, and potentially like gone after some of these other like players, but that was never an option either. It didn't seem like. I mean, it seems like if you were gonna break open a giant conspiracy about a guy who had a sex island with underage like sex trafficking and all this stuff, you'd want to like really like break it open and like incriminate all the people involved. But like, and I think the way you would do that was to make a deal, and you know why?
But would she take a deal? You know,
Huh?
would she even take a deal?
Well, I don't know, but
Maybe she's that much of a bad bitch.
Yeah. Well, she knows like she takes a deal, she's dead. So what's the point? You know?
Tortured
well,
the shit out of her. She didn't say anything.
that's true too. I don't know,
But
it seems like that's what I would try to do.
yeah. So I think anyway, you look at this is a fucked up situation, man.
Yeah.
You know, obviously just the fact that it happened is fucked up. The people who were harmed in it is fucked up. And the fact, I agree with you, Cam. I think this is the end of it. I think her trial in general wasn't even, not that it was mainstream, but it wasn't really like the talk of like the internet, which is, I guess, how you keep your hand on the pulse of things these days.
Yeah.
And there, you mentioned the FBI earlier. I did come across this bit of little bit of glimpse of evidence that the black book, that's, you know, the holy grail right now of the, you know, everybody wants the Qs and want it. A former butler. So I wasn't the Juan Asai guy that took it, but another butler of Epstein stole it.
Man.
Nice.
Yeah,
dude.
so he stole this thing.
Be your own
And do you want to know?
boys.
Do you want to know how the FBI got it?
I like side eye all of you. I'm like, which one of you is gonna fucking steal something that shouldn't be stolen?
But you want to know how the FBI got it? They rung a sting operation to buy it from him, not as the FBI, and they arrested him.
What?
Yeah. So
Why would he even like sell it?
Hey, what was it?
They must have offered
He
him
stole
like
the book
$2
and
billion.
was jailed for trying to sell it
Citizenship.
to undercover FBI agents.
He was
So that
okay.
sounds pretty fucky, man. Like the FBI is like actively looking for this guy who stole a property of some dude.
Yeah, there's so much cover up with the FBI and
anytime this
thing
gets
they say.
brought up, and you know, the government, FBI, whatever, wants to act like outraged by it, I always replay that, and we played
McCain
it,
video
Yeah,
from
we
last
played it on
episode.
the show. Yeah, McCain, where she's talking about how everybody knew he was just too powerful to touch.
yeah.
And yeah, like you're saying, like they were all looking into this, and like I don't know.
Well, it still in some way stands true,
Yeah,
right? I mean, even after his death, he's still too powerful of a person because of all his connections.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so
and
it's
that's
kind of
to
crazy.
me that's what proves that, you know, there's so many super powerful people that are involved.
yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
just the fact that like you said, he's dead and he's still like
Yeah.
you know, nobody
People
dares
are still afraid.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like how many times does the FBI go after people who steal things from your house?
Yeah. We'll probably know in like 75 to 100 years.
Right?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
the JFK shooting.
Yeah.
Once all the people who are involved are definitely dead. Maybe 50 years.
and then people will be saying the same shit. That can never happen.
Right?
That could never happen today.
Yep.
Oh
know?
yeah.
Dude, but I don't know. So
Well,
go ahead, dude.
So I just wanted to bring up the idea that, like, say this is the end, which it most likely is, and nothing ever comes of it. Like, how many other sex islands are there? And this is like currently happening.
I mean, I remember I was listening to this, like, I think it was one of those, you know, true crime podcasts that my wife got into. And I can't remember what it was called. It was a really popular one, but
Women in those podcasts.
yeah, I know. But it
always
was
the
about
wife.
up in Michigan. There was like a sex island, like in Lake Michigan or one of the Great Lakes there, and the local police were like in on it, and like like children were going missing and stuff, and like the cases were just going dead because like it was purposeful.
Yeah.
And like this was up in Michigan like in the 70s or 80s. So yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of weird shit going on.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, a lot of people seem to forget too that Epstein was actually caught prior, like
2008.
yeah, like couple like. I mean, almost a decade before he officially got like
Yeah.
the book thrown at him,
And he was actually
and yeah, and
found guilty of
right. The district
pedophilia.
attorney, the district attorney cut him like this sweetheart deal where
he could leave the prison and stuff.
Yeah, he basically just had to stay the night there.
Yeah, yeah.
What?
Helicopters would pick him up.
Yeah, and he like couldn't go to his house, I think was another one, because
Yeah.
that's where he was doing this.
yeah.
But he would just have girls come to his office.
Yeah, exactly. It was like he was still doing what he was in there for doing.
Yeah.
It's almost like the old mob movies where they go to jail, but they're still running the shit. In
Yeah,
jail.
or like Pablo Escobar. He
Yeah.
was like
He built his own
He
jail.
built his own prison. It was just a massive mansion.
But
Well, and not just because you brought that up, but a lot of these folks that hung out with him before, like, continued hanging out with him after the
yeah.
fact.
Yes.
And you could say,
Prince Andrew.
or Bill Gates, right?
Yep.
And so
Trump.
you can. I don't know if Trump was one of them. or
Yeah,
not.
I don't know either.
But
I'm just saying.
I know he hung out with him before. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, there's obviously something to be said about that, right?
Yeah.
Your buddy turns out to be a pedophile, and then it's like, well,
Yeah.
he asked for forgiveness. I don't know.
Yeah, I just saw today. I had like a list of questions. I think we ran through all of them for the Jizz-lane stuff. But the last thing I had was Alan Dershowitz, the
the
lawyer
lawyer.
from the AJ trial. Well, one of the many lawyers from the AJ trial or OJ trial, and he's like
like
involved.
AJ.
He's involved in a bunch of other cases too. But I guess I saw earlier on his Wikipedia page it says that he's won. As of like 2009, he had won like 13 out of 15 of the murder or attempted murder trials that he represented for. It was
Dang.
like some insane number. But anyways, he has said a lot of questionable stuff in recent years, including like defending pedophilia and like trying
And
to,
he was buddy buddies with Epstein.
yeah, and he actually he supposedly this was on Yahoo News. It came out just like in the past few days that Alan Dershowitz had asked Donald Trump to pardon Jizz-lane Maxwell before Trump like was out of office.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Hey, they just gotta shoot your shot.
yeah. But that's so weird because Biden's in there now. You would think like,
Big
he would do it.
establishment guy, right?
But maybe it'd be too obvious.
Right? He's like, everybody hates Trump. Trump might just do it out of spite.
He's like, listen, I don't have a use for the kid's blood anymore. I'm like almost dead, so
Yeah.
I'm done supporting your antics.
Maybe that's why he's gone so off the rails in the.
Yeah,
Past
they
couple
stopped
years,
supplying
they-
him
yeah,
with
they-
kid blood.
Yeah, he's got no more. I almost said Omicron. What that shit?
Adrenochrome.
Adrenochrome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh,
But
Jesus.
I don't know, man. It's and like you mentioned, are there more islands? Oh, for sure. Like
I think so, for sure.
it's
I think
it's
so.
a classic. What? It's the classic honeypot. It's as old as time. Well, as far as we know, it's as old as the mob families. I think
Yeah.
they're one of the first ones to do it, like officially, and call it a honeypot. CIA did it. They probably still do it.
Definitely.
I guess there's a good argument now. There could be less, just because to blackmail you, all they have to do is put child pornography on your computer, which is super easy now.
Yeah.
That's super terrifying.
Yeah, that's why I just have it. No, I mean, never mind. You can't put it on if it's already there. No, yeah. So who knows? Like, there's probably still out there, but yeah, they could just put that shit on your computer a week later, bust in your door, be like, "Hey, we have this. If you ever fuck up or do anything we don't like, it's going out."
Yeah. But we can't find Hunter Biden's laptop.
So if anything, actually, at least the people before, they got something they wanted out of it. Now you could just get fucked without getting the goods.
Yeah, seriously.
I don't know what you're saying.
It's okay.
He's saying a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I don't know where we're at.
yeah.
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 Do you think Bill Clinton's ever gonna talk about his time on the Lolita Express?
The leader. Yeah.
No, I don't think he'll ever die either.
Right.
I think he's a vampire.
Him and
That's a good theory.
Yeah.
It kind of looks vampire-ish.
He looks
Yeah.
like that guy's terrifying looking.
He
He
like
is.
aged all like at once really quick and then he stopped aging. He's just like
Yeah, and it looks
Turned
very
into an old-
vampire-ish.
it's like they took him off the adrenochrome. And they're like, "This is what's happening." He's like, "Fuck, okay, all right."
One thing I do got to say is you have to admire like Hillary Clinton's ride or die for this guy.
seriously.
I guess.
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like you need to find you a girl that's as loyal as Hillary Clinton is to Bill.
Like she probably fucking hates him.
Oh yeah.
Oh, for sure,
you-
man.
They probably don't talk. They probably haven't spent a night in the same house.
in like 20 years.
I was gonna
More
say,
than that.
You know how like when like back in the day, like your parents would hate each other, but they just get separate rooms
Yeah.
that stay together for whatever reason because it was the thing to do. Like these two just like have different houses in different states.
Yeah.
That's exactly how that goes down. Absolutely, for sure, right?
Yep.
What? How many times was he on the? What? 23?
Oh yeah, I think it's 26.
26. Wow. Yeah.
I mean, it's what a baker's dozen, 2 times. It's not that much.
2 baker's dozens,
Yeah.
I think, is what you're.
Thank you.
Oh man.
A baker's dozen 2 times.
Baker's 2 times of a dozen,
Yep.
3, 4 times.
I mean,
Divided by 2, multiplied by 8.
everybody brings up Trump, and they for sure were like good friends. Like they obviously went to a lot of the same parties, but his on the flight records, he's only on there once.
Yeah.
Well, he just went there to hang out with the staff, apparently.
I love that story.
The staff.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said when he found out what he was doing, he just hung out with the servers and the staff.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm sure that's what you did.
He's like,
Donald Trump.
he just fucked the staff instead of the underage girls.
He's like, Epstein, I see you got these 12-year-olds. He's like, what's up with these middle-aged servers?
Middle-aged Hispanic women.
Yeah.
No, the servers were all 18 plus a day, and that was it.
Right.
At 2 days they get cut. And then
That's so you get Brian at 14, you get raped until you're 18 and 2 days over, and then they just put you into a maid's outfit and you just serve
put
everybody
out to pasture.
Yeah.
That was like a massive plane. Was it-
They hit a ton of planes and jets.
yeah, but that one, the big one.
The
The
Lita.
Lolita.
I mean, that was like a commercial jet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen it.
Oh yeah, was it a 7? I'm not even gonna
7, I don't know. Let's see.
737.
Do you
Is it
think
Boeing humming out?
do you think
Is that a real plane? 737.
737 is irrelevant. It's a 727.
Oh, it's close.
so in a step down,
I
but
was way
still,
off by 10.
still huge.
Yeah, it's like the F-250 of Boeing's, I think.
Yeah.
Probably.
So it's like a little bigger than like a regular full size,
It's an
which would be a
S-17.
717, right?
Yeah. A couple of pilots here.
747's like those big ass Ford 4500s, you know?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
The 8 wheels.
It can carry
Put
149.
it in terms people can understand.
It can carry 149 to 189 people.
Yeah, it seems like a lot.
Shit.
Dude, that's a
Seems like a lot of people.
That's a lot of underage.
Yeah.
If you if you turn everything to couches, it's like maybe like 50
It's
to 60.
it's 153 feet long.
Damn, that's
So
a big
just,
plane, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's that. We'll see what happens.
Just
Yeah.
full
We'll
of
see
children.
where she goes.
See what happens.
See what happens. See what happens. All right. Are we
So
done with that?
yeah.
Anything else?
So we'll just smooth transition into Desantis's budget.
Who was not on the flight logs was
No,
Daddy
he was
D.
not.
Daddy D was not.
He probably was like 20 years too late.
Yeah, he missed the train on that
Missed
one.
the
Yeah.
train.
So
He missed
The
the plane.
golden ages.
I don't know how you guys want to do this. I mean, we're only at we're still
Dude.
under an hour. This is 30.
Look at-
I don't want to do too much of like just
proposal.
reading.
Yeah, I know.
No, I just
through
want,
the
I just want
paragraph.
45
You got like
minutes.
a book over there, bro.
45
This
minutes
is
of
it.
reading
This is the proposal. I
Oh.
just printed it off. It's 30 pages.
I think we should read every single bit of it.
Okay.
Every
The
single
challenges
number.
our country has faced over the last 2 years has placed on Microsoft. Yeah, no. So it's
Yeah.
it's a $99.7 billion budget for 2022 to 2023. There were 4 main subjects. What was it? Was it 3
Yeah.
or 4?
Like breakdowns.
Yeah,
there
it,
was, like,
it was like
taxes and fees, infrastructure, education,
an environment.
Yeah,
Oh, and then
public servants.
and then at the end, yeah, there was like a government employee kind of subsection.
So there's like 4 or 5 like main points. They
There
would,
was
Yeah, they just kind of
bullets.
encompass
Yeah.
everything.
and the health. There wasn't a whole lot of like policy with health. It was more of like a investments, and we're going to keep doing what we're doing because it's working type of deal.
Yeah. One major thing, and I think me and Chris kind of agreed when we were talking about it before we started recording. One of the biggest things we saw was like a lot of raises for people's like a lot
Government
of
workers.
Yeah, government workers, police.
well, dude, inflation. Come on.
Yeah,
I
well,
guess, but-
well, like 4 times the inflation rate.
Yeah. I guess we could just kind of jump right into it. So some of the things that I think I appreciated, and I think you guys should too, as libertarian anarchists. They had a lot of tax cutting, which obviously anytime we cut taxes, cool. They added 4 new tax holidays to the fiscal year. So they have a fuel tax holiday. It's estimated to cut roughly $1 billion from taxpayers. It's a 25 cent drop per gallon, so 25 cent less per gallon. And I think it was a full week, right? Or did it say fuel tax holiday?
Oh, really? I didn't realize there was like a time.
I don't think it's that. I think it's just a day, maybe.
Huh. I guess the whole, idea behind that is because, we're seeing super high gas prices lately, so it's going to just alleviate that for, people. But I didn't realize it was a set time. That seems kind of weird. Because,
no. I don't think that one was. The other ones were. That's why I'm confused.
I think it might be for the full fiscal year.
Yeah.
Is that they're eliminating certain gas taxes in the state.
That's what it was.
And so, that's going to help. If it was a week, that would be insane. Like, people would just be at the gas pumps just, like, getting like a full year's worth of gas.
Yeah. But what was the thing they did where they filled up the
Tupperware containers?
Yeah.
Do you see the guy?
What was that for again? Well, it was it was a COVID thing, right?
Was it COVID or was it a hurricane? It was the hurricane.
I remember everybody doing that after the 2008 hurricanes. Or
remember
2004.
That was like the most ridiculous. People were putting gas.
I'm pretty sure there was a hurricane coming up the East Coast. It hit like the Carolinas.
I think it was when that ship got stuck in the.
Florida that's what it was. Yeah.
And there was talk of all these shortages, so people lost their fucking minds.
Pass space, bro.
Phil, the lady that put like a plastic liner in the bed trunk.
Filled the bed.
One dude was filling.
She gets home, it's all gone.
One dude was filling like a plastic Walmart bag.
Yeah, I saw that too.
It's like there's so many things wrong with that. Yeah. Just like the fact that light deteriorates gasoline, and then also the fact that it it only lasts a certain amount of time. Like it goes bad.
Not only that, I'm pretty sure gas will eat through plastic over time.
Almost immediately. Yeah, quickly.
So on top of the gas tax cut, he added a 7-day freedom week. And that was something I kind of seen a reoccurring
freedom.
Thing. Yeah, he just added freedom to a lot of these.
What's his
names.
budget called again?
The Freedom First budget.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so he added a 7-day Freedom Week sales tax holiday, which is estimated to save Florida families $47.5 million. The holiday covers certain outdoor recreational purchases, such as the first $100 off the sales price of sunglasses, the first $200 off the sales price of tents, and $500 off the sales price of kayaks or canoes, as well as tickets, events, and museums, which I think is cool. He's trying to, I'm assuming he's trying to promote people coming here, right? Events and, holding, that kind of thing.
Hopefully the right people.
Yeah. Lady Gaga, you can stay out of Florida. 10-day back-to-school sales tax holiday, which we already have. He's just extending it. It used to be just a weekend. Now it's a full 10 days. It's covering school supplies up to $15, clothing up to $60, and the first $1,000 of personal computers and related accessories. And keep in mind when I say the first $1,000, it's not referring to you get $1,000 for a computer or whatever. You're getting a tax credit on the first $1,000, the first 100, first 200. It's not, you're not getting that actual money.
Right.
A 10-day disaster preparedness sales tax holiday to save families roughly $11 million. The holiday covers items needed during disasters, including generators priced at $1,000 or less. So it's a bunch of different shit that's encompassed in that. And then this was a huge one that I starred and put a heart next to because I loved it so much. A permanent elimination of fees charged for obtaining a Florida ID card, which is supposed to save families $14.5 million, which is cool, I think, right? You are requiring it for essentially everything you do in the state, but not only do you have to pay for it, you also have to pay a bunch of bullshit fees that are associated with it.
I agree with that. The one thing I'm curious to know is how is it going to get paid for? Like, where's that money going to come from? Are we just paying for it regardless? You know.
Yeah. So wait.
Well, so here it says, the governor's fiscal year 2022-23 budget maintains local tax collector revenue by redistributing a portion of the Class E driver license fees. So I guess that's your answer.
Redistribution sounds like a bunch of goddamn socialism to me.
Bunch of communists. So you're not going to have to pay to get a new driver's license? Is that what I'm getting from this?
Yeah.
This will save individuals over the age of 5 wishing to obtain a Florida identification card $25. Florida ID cards issued by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles are required to be accepted by any person accepting a driver's license as proof of identification.
So you're telling me I'm going to have to pay for every drunk asshole that goes to Ginny Springs and loses their ID in the bottom of the river?
Wait, so I just want to cut in here. Something that a lot of the other tax stuff, I could care less about it. It sounds like bullshit to me. I don't know. I just feel like when they do that, like, this is our tax-free weekend. This is our tax-free week. Mm-hmm. It's like, here, plebs. Here's your time. Be happy. Like it's cool, and obviously it does help people, but it's like, fuck, I just don't want the taxes.
Rejoice in our generosity.
Yeah, it's like, or you could just fucking just not give us taxes. But don't want to get on that big loss in the libertarian sauce.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Exactly. I know, but I'm going to do it. But
it's one of those things that it's not going to make a difference in the long term unless you actually
in my
eliminate
opinion,
the taxes. Yeah.
But this driver's license things, I wonder if there's another reason, or the identification card. It's because if they go to you need a license or identification card to vote.
Yeah.
Is this a route of saying, well, it's free, anybody can get one?
Yep.
That's what I was thinking.
Just as you started saying that, I thought about that. I hadn't thought about that before. They definitely are. It's definitely a political move on the one hand to make it so that Democrats don't have as much of a
be an argument.
Yeah, an argument.
Like, how's it racist
that.
when it's free?
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah. Like, we gave Coke to black communities in the 80s. It was free. It's not racist.
Right. Exactly. Perfect.
The seen
analogy.
versus the unseen, right? And then I thought this was kind of cool too. $15.3 billion of this total budget was meant to be kept in a reserve, which is insane for any politician, right? To not spend
you wrote
money.
That's about 15% of the total budget.
Well, yeah, because the budget's almost $100 billion.
Yeah.
So $15 billion of it.
It's a little more than 15%. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, again, give them credit. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Not too many states are in the
positive.
Yeah. Well, it's not red. Is it blue?
Black, I think.
Black. Yeah.
In
Red
accounting.
and black.
That's what it is?
Yep.
Yeah, black is like the green.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't understand that, but
yeah.
State package. The Freedom First budget recommends $453 million, and this is where we can start bashing him. This would be fun. The Freedom First budget recommends $453.1 million in pay increases for Florida state sworn law enforcement officers, which includes state correction, detention, and probation officers, not prohibition. Probation officers, state firefighters, and state employees. And then it's kind of itemized a little bit here. Of the $453 million, $75 million is allocated to increase the base rate of pay for over 4,500 state sworn law enforcement officers. Mm-hmm. Entry-level law enforcement will receive a 20% pay increase, bringing the average position base rate to $61,000. And then non-entry-level sworn law enforcement will receive a 25% pay increase. That's a lot of money. Woo, imagine getting a 20%.
Like I was saying, that's like
raise.
4 or 5 times inflation rate.
Yeah, that's a ton.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
That's retarded.
Come on, guys. It's a hard job.
Leave. Get off this episode. You're done.
It's like, this is what I'm like, I actually like Desantis ruling in this.
All of a sudden, Bookie just like pro cop.
Hit the next episode. I'm like, I'm your host, Nick, Chris, and Cameron. It's just us three.
All of a sudden, like, we go through the whole episode, he listens back and he's muted the whole time.
So,
this ad is for all of our followers who take exercise, especially weightlifting, seriously. Lifting weights can be tough on your body and especially your hands. Not everyone has rough and rugged man hands, and hey, that's okay. What Bitch Mitts has created is a lifting mitt that utilizes their patent Pillow Soft technology to protect those dainty little boy hands of yours. Gone are the days of boo-boos and ouchies from lifting those big meanie-weenie iron weights. And hello to the days of hands that stay manicured after a deadly after a heavy deadlift session. If you're not a complete Chad, absolutely stacked to the hilt with massive bicep peaks that would make Mount Everest blush, then Bitch Mitch might be for you. Politics on the Rocks is happy to announce that Bitch Mitts, along with Tampax, has teamed up together to offer Politics on the Rocks listeners 20% off with code I'm a Bitch 20. Again, that's I'm a Bitch 20 for 20% off Bitch Mitts and a promotional pack of Tampax.
Yeah, that's, like Chris said, that's 4 times the inflation rate. That's ridiculous.
That's insane.
But this is kind of on brand of him, you know, what we talked about a couple months ago. Him saying,
it doesn't surprise us.
Him saying, we're going to give, $5,000 to police.
And there's like this reoccurring theme throughout this budget of this just like pro-government employee type thing where it's like none of them are bad. Like they all deserve this raise. It has nothing to do with merit or individual work ethic or anything.
It's like, you're a cop, we
just,
automatically love you.
Yeah, exactly.
You gotta increase.
You haven't accidentally shot someone in a while? Maybe that's a
oh shit, raise. You know your taser from your pistol?
Imagine if that was like how people, like, if you applied that same logic and that same performance, I guess, criteria to any other employee or in any other industry, you would quickly realize how ridiculous that is, right? Like,
yeah, it's not a hard leap.
As engineers, that'd be like us being like, oh wow, none of your buildings collapsed and killed somebody, or a plane you designed didn't fall out of the sky.
You did your fucking job.
Good job. Like,
I'd be
that's
fine
like the
with,
worst criteria to base anything on.
I would be fine if he said, entry level officers get a base minimum raise of 6 to 8%, and then the vets get 8 to 10% to account for inflation. And that would be above inflation, but that'd be reasonable. Mm-hmm. And then they move from there according to your individual merit or whatever.
Right.
But for everybody to get a 20 to 25% raise, it's like, what?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Just to play maybe a slight devil's advocate. No. Would this be acceptable in some way if there were harsher punishments for police being put in place and a harder
you're saying if we held police to a higher standard and they weren't complete schmucks?
Correct. So he's like, hey, we're going to pay you more so people actually want this job who aren't just in it for the power.
If it wasn't taxed, if
this is kind of a weird line you're kind of walking as who we are. Because, it makes sense if it was in the free market, right? We're actually going to pay people more for this job because the people we get at this price fucking suck.
Sure.
And we're going to make it so...
Right, but this is state-sworn law enforcement, so that means they're already officers.
Yeah.
Right. But, no, I understand what you're saying, though. But,
I know what you mean.
And I think that is kind of, in a way, probably what they're trying to accomplish is attract the better law enforcement to Florida, and you'll see in the rest of this section of the budget that's definitely what they're trying to do. But like you said, and this is kind of diving into the weeds of how we feel about police officers and stuff, but if you're the people who are tasked with enforcing the law in the society, you should be held to a higher standard.
Already.
How do you expect someone to respect you as a guy who, pulls someone over and tells them what they're doing wrong and basically lectures them on it? You're like the
police czar.
Yeah, you're like the dad of the town or whatever, you should be held to a higher standard. That's how you garner respect from the people that you serve, is you hold yourself to a higher standard. That's why going back to religion with me and Cam, the clergy is held to a higher standard. Where people expect the clergy to forego marriage and things like that.
Yeah.
And that's these things that they sacrifice in their lives that you look to them and you're like, oh shit, they are really
Yeah. And they have greater consequences.
Right, exactly. So that's kind of how I feel about cops, is they should be held to higher standards, similarly to how,
Completely agree.
Yeah, I mean, our book, I think that's like a great question because, I mean, obviously we're jumping, we're bypassing the fact that we're paying for them and do taxes and whatnot. But I mean, I think in that world, in the way you're wording that, I think absolutely. I mean, I imagine if you did get held to a higher standard, could possibly get shot, and you're only getting paid, what, $40,000? Yeah, I mean, I'm not doing that. I'm good.
And
But
that's the thing in the private sector is your salary directly represents how much responsibility you're taking on. Typically,
Right.
So if you're in even if you're in whatever sector you're in, you're a freaking janitor, the person who is the new janitor doesn't have as much responsibility because the head janitor is telling him what he needs to do. But then the head janitor, he makes more money because he's the one that's responsible for scheduling everyone and making sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. It's just a successive ladder of taking on responsibility.
Sure.
So that's whenever
typically
you get a raise, you
if
get
the head
more
janitor
responsibility.
too just walked in and started killing everybody, you probably wouldn't have a job.
Probably not.
But we don't see that with the police.
Just starts
They typically get these really sweet deals, early retirement.
starts beating minorities with a mop. It's like
Imagine. I always think about that.
somebody
Imagine
put that guy on
getting-
administrative leave.
Oh, racist janitor.
Jesus Christ. Imagine just getting whipped in the face by a wet mop.
God, the dirty one too. It's been just so we
I've
can
never been there.
Something about a dirty mop.
just so we can piss off the
The cafeteria mop.
people who like the police a little more, and I can kind of end this for me at least. This raise is going to the people, the sheriff's department in Vero Beach, who killed that woman. So that's
Yep. So I guess last couple points on the cop section that I wanted to bring up is the $5,000 bonus for new state law enforcement. So that's kind of one way that they're bringing in new people, incentivizing people to move here. I don't know. I feel like enticing people with a bonus isn't the best way to get the best cops. I mean, I feel like
Right, if you're getting somebody who's jumping ship over $5,000,
right. There's a line of if you provide too much incentive for just anybody to come down here and become a cop, you're almost you're not necessarily attracting the best. It's almost better to make it difficult and make it.
I see the logic though, because if you're a department and you're hiring, the more people you get, the better people you can pull from, right?
Right. Yeah.
So the higher
bigger pool.
yeah, exactly. So if you're, oftentimes in the post office, right? You don't get that many people or whatever, and so you have less to pull from, and less people get fired, and they should get fired. So I see it from the perspective if. You can really weed out the bad ones if you have more.
I could see maybe if, at the police academy, they have a set number of people that they want to accept every year. So then this maybe would cause it that the pass rate goes down dramatically, but they have so many more people trying.
Right.
And so, in that case, they would end up getting a better pool of people that they can get more quality people from.
Yeah. I mean, I also see your perspective on that, but I think anytime when you're hiring, the more people, the better, because then you can say, this guy is on the edge. Where before, if he's, what I'm saying, he's one of the 10 guys that you need, he's like, well, so.
Yep. And then
there's something to be said about that.
To go off of that too, they're also offering up to $1,000 of training expenses for officers relocating to Florida. So there's another way they're enticing police officers to come to the great state of Florida.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting. We're still kind of in this state employee or whatever. This one's weird, and I wish that it would spell it out a little bit more exactly what that means. But they've budgeted $16 million for the Department of Corrections to implement a retention plan for correction officers. I can't imagine in what world you would need $16 million
To keep corrections officers?
yeah, just to come up with a retention plan. Like, it would make more sense if it said like, $60 million for raises for, like something like.
So is that? Are they just saying, here's $16 million to make a plan
Yes.
to retain these people?
Yes.
So it's not even this is 16 going to retain them. It's to put people together
to implement a retention plan.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like here's the money to make a plan.
To maybe. Yeah,
Yeah, retain
exactly.
people.
Right. And then that plan is going to be, hey, we need more money.
Yeah.
When you see like such like preposterous numbers like that for something like that, you have to wonder if that money is just like being put aside for something entirely different.
Yeah.
I mean, it's $16 million to make a plan. I mean, that seems.
And another something interesting I wanted to bring up. So in this bill, they have 1.4 million. Oh wait, what? 580 state firefighters. Never mind. I read that wrong. But they have here 225 million to provide pay increases for state employees. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say there's probably a shit ton more state employees than there are police officers, and they're getting half the funding for raises. And then it even says here funding can support up to a 4% salary increase for career service employees. So, like, why are they only getting 4 and cops are getting 25?
He wants those cops, man.
He wants those cops.
Yeah, he's a Republican governor. I
Yep.
mean,
Yeah. I guess while we're on the subject of government workers, we can go to an educational.
We love the
Edument.
educational portion of our government.
Education.
How much more money
yeah.
is Dr. Moore going to get?
So, yeah, he's going to get one more Range Rover.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
a year.
there's
That's a year, though. One more a year.
there's a $1,000 bonus for, I guess there's about 180,000 teachers in Florida, and they're all getting a $1,000 bonus. Another one. They already got a $1,000 bonus. Now they're getting another one.
Yep.
Which,
$238 million
$1,000. It's
for a
whatever. That's
one-time
normal bonus
Yeah.
amount. I'm not too concerned about that. But then they're allocating $600 million for teacher pay, and their goal is to which is $50 million more than last year's.
Yeah.
Which their goal is to hit $47,500 as the minimum wage for all teachers.
Salary, yeah.
Yeah, which
seems high for somebody who works 9 months out of the year.
yeah, it really does. And also, this just goes back to what we were saying earlier. Like when you're a private market worker, like you get paid based on how good you are. And,
Yeah.
Like I've had a lot of teachers that weren't worth $47,500. I can guarantee you that.
oh, for sure.
I would say 99.9%.
I've had teachers that were not worth $47,500, and I've paid them like 3 times that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
Oh, you mean at college?
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Chris, you just bring up such a good point about that. And then,
I know.
Chris, you're so good.
Chris,
Good, Chris.
you got such good points, Chris.
Chris, your points
Chris.
are so good.
Chris is the kind of guy.
He brings up so many good points.
His points
Yeah.
are the best.
Chris. Wow, I totally forgot what I was going to say. No, but just about merit. I mean, that's why the free market is so much better. Because when you have that employee and you're trying to mimic the guy who's, puts in the extra effort, does things the right way, even teaches the company something, just like how to grow and do things better and be a better service to whatever cause your business is in. But when you just blanket statement, this is what everybody gets, and it's just
And it
such
hurts.
a bad system.
I think the people it's going to hurt the most is the people who are like, 5 years in, who are doing like marginally better than their counterparts. Like, if you're kind of near the bottom, but you've been doing a little bit better than everyone else, maybe you got a raise, and your counterparts that aren't doing quite as good, maybe they make like 43,000, and you got a couple raises, you make 50. Now they all make 47,500. but you're not getting a raise because that money all had to go to them, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
So
when
it's
you're
like-
doing better.
That's how like these government budgets work. Like it's just there's so much amount of money, and it's going. You know, well they raised the whole budget as a whole, so maybe they will be able to give those other people a couple more raises. But well, I mean, yeah, I don't know. The whole salary is going up, so
I feel like the
kinda eat up that budget.
Yeah. And just to kind of snowball off, the whole free market aspect of this, I feel like, and this is such a cliche when people say like, the free market breeds innovation or capitalism breeds innovation or whatever the saying is. But I feel like the education system is like a perfect example of seeing that happen, but in the reverse, right? So it's not obviously, education is not a free market kind of system at all.
No.
And for decades, I mean, I talked to, some kids that are in school and they're doing the same things that we did. And the scores are obviously not changing.
Right.
So we're just going to throw more money at it to do the same exact thing and see the same exact results.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, imagine in a system, even if it wasn't completely private, but it wasn't done the way it is, in the sense that like there were what was the word I'm looking for? Incentives for like a teacher, and the amount of I don't know, just something like with a student has like even like a rating system, like some sort of incentive for the teacher to go out and be better than just.
And also, like, just pick out the students that are obviously struggling and help them, so
Exactly.
that your baseline average doesn't get like plummeted by a couple of kids that are
Right.
absolutely failing.
Right.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it's one of those things where we've talked about it. I think a lot of people talk about it where schools now are, and not, I don't want to get into this too much, but just so while we're having a discussion, it's brought up for people listening to this the first time. Schools are definitely just government daycares. It's what they are. There's, 30 kids in a general government school now, classroom probably, on average. Some are going to have a little more, some have a little less. What?
Average.
Maybe half of those kids actually want to be there?
Yeah.
And it's not to say the kids who don't want to be there are fucking retarded or anything. Like, probably not. They just want to be taught differently, or they need to be taught differently because they can't
Right.
sit in a room for 8 hours being lectured to.
Yeah, there's no 12-year program that's going to be perfect for everyone.
Yep.
It's,
Okay, I agree, but me and Brooke went to school together for.
I don't know if you would call it a school, but
Well, I mean, mostly he did most of my stuff. That's how I got to. But we went to school together. Since middle school, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but like, and so we had all the same teachers or whatever. But like, when you have a teacher that like generally cares for you,
and gets you amped up about the class.
it get you amped up about the class, and actually, you actually feel like they care about you as a person.
Yeah.
Like that makes all the difference in the world.
does.
yeah. I remember all of those teachers.
like respect. You
Yeah.
know, there's like a respect that happens, and you're willing to listen to them even if you don't really care about the subject or whatever it may be. And I don't know. I feel like there should be a push for that kind of interaction. Same with cops. I mean, all around there should be this mutual respect. And I don't know, going towards things that work instead of just I don't know.
No,
the
I get
system that we have now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say with this budget, the new number, we were looking at kind of like student funding, either last episode or the one before that, throughout the country. They said it's going to be $8,000 per student, which is the highest in Florida history, obviously, because the budget was the highest in Florida history. And that's not quite as high as a lot of other states. So I know New York is above $20,000 per student. So,
Wow.
yeah, it's wild.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, and people say, it's like we've talked about in past episodes, like if you had that money in your pocket, would you use it the same way that they do? Right. And you look at what they can do in Florida with $8,000 a student. So
I think a good incentive for the teachers would be you get an 8% increase every year if you don't have a kid trying to shoot at the school.
oh yeah,
That's a good one.
Yeah.
And for
That's a
Florida,
pretty good one,
that's
yeah.
pretty important because I think every other week we get a It's a thwarted school shooting attempt. So maybe a teacher should just stop the kids from shooting each other.
Yeah.
Or even better incentive, if a teacher suspects a school shooting and kills that kid before, do we double?
What if he ends up like not having a gun on him?
Yeah.
Then they get triple bonus.
It could come from the safety and mental health budget, which is going to be $421 million.
Yeah.
Which the
Mental health.
teacher salary budget, salary budget was $600 million. The safety and mental health is almost as much at $420 million.
What is that? State?
We're jumping a little ahead.
No, you're
but-
fine.
Well, no, this is for education still.
So part of education budget is 400 something million.
Yeah, for safety and mental health in schools,
Oh,
$420 million.
So we shouldn't see any school shootings now.
No, I mean that's a lot of money.
I mean, if I was maxing, I would have. It's like I think we talked about this earlier. I think Cameron would have shot the school. I would have just kept people in my basement.
Oh,
We were a little different,
yeah, a little bit.
but it's all right.
Together,
It would,
we got through.
We've been a duo for sure. But
Together, we'd be serial killers.
but if I was going to shoot up a school, and someone's like, "Hey, here's $1 million not to shoot up that school," I'd probably just take $1 million. So hopefully that's what that's going towards.
Yeah,
It's just like flyers in schools, like, "Hey, if you're thinking about shooting tomorrow or anytime during the year, we'll just give you $1 million not to shoot the school."
that's good.
That should probably stop all school shootings.
Yeah, you could stop
There's
421
gonna
school
be-
shootings.
Which I think is,
It's probably most of them, right?
yeah, I think we at least have 300.
421? Yeah, I think you'd be good. You'd probably be set with
Some surplus,
421. Yeah.
get some rollover for next year.
Yeah. So moving down, where are we here? Chris already mentioned the one-time retention. They allocated $238 million for that one-time retention bonus for eligible full-time teachers and principals. Principals really need that.
Yeah.
I don't even think they
feel
need
like
to
principals-
exist.
Yeah,
What do they even do?
Sure.
Yell at you and stuff.
Yeah.
$1.3 billion in state operating funds for Florida colleges. Another $2.7 billion for state universities. $35 million to continue the Open Door Grant Program. Florida, is that the one you looked into, Chris? Or was it a
No.
different grant?
It was a different one.
And then another $5 million in funding to establish the Law Enforcement Academy Scholarship Program.
Ooh.
$1 million in funding to establish the out-of-state law enforcement equivalency reimbursement to help cover the cost of law enforcement officers moving to Florida.
Okay,
Which
yeah,
is
that was
weird
the-
that that's in the education section.
Yeah.
But-
They kind of
They're really pushing the cop thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what we said, right? At the beginning, you'll
this
see
is
that's
one that you guys have, I think, mentioned before is because you guys all took the Florida standardized tests. It says here it's called the Florida Standards Assessment. Is that accurate? I don't
Sure.
know if
Yeah,
that is.
yeah.
It used to be called the FCAT.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
They change the name every couple of weeks and make it
yeah.
the same exact
They
thing.
keep
Rebrand it.
confusing.
Yeah. They're like, this is better than the FCAT.
It's like the same test from
Yeah.
the 1970s.
Exactly. It is.
But they're allocating $15.5 million to eliminate that system and implement a progress monitoring system, which I think is that sounds familiar to me. I feel like they implemented that in New York when I lived there. But basically, it's more of like an individualized type thing where your guidance counselor is supposed to be like keeping track of the individual students based on whatever system
Isn't that just a
they're
report card?
implementing. That's what it sounds like to me. But
We have this individual program.
$16 million to do that, though.
We have this individual thing that actually
think-
tracks your own child's progress, not relevant to other students, called a report card now.
yeah, they're
Individual
going
grades.
back to report cards. But it's
Holy shit.
I guess the point is supposed to be that they can like pick out kids that are struggling and help them.
Wait,
catch
this
up.
is kind of sounding
Or-
a lot like what Epstein and Keelan were doing. I'm going to be honest with you.
Or if like certain kids, like we just mentioned, aren't like suited for like normal K through 12 school, maybe they go to some sort of trade school early
Or
or
like an
stuff
island?
like that. Yeah, they send them off to the island where they can learn trades such as wait staffing, massaging.
Jeez.
Jobs where you work with your hands.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really hands on.
it's blue collar stuff,
But
You're never going to make it to college. No. Why don't you learn how to massage?
yeah, who wants to go to college?
Come massage old Uncle Epstein.
But no, that I liked. We talked about it actually when he announced that he wanted to get rid of the standardized testing. I think we all generally were for that because, especially us three who went through the Florida schooling system, it was just a pain in the ass. I don't really know how that changed my life. I'm sure for the worse, but yeah, I mean, if they're trying to do a more individualized thing, great. It just why is that amount of money necessary to do it when it sounds like it's just a report card.
Yeah, really.
Like, wait, we see you got a C in mathematics. You need more help in mathematics. But, fuck, man.
Yeah. So I guess what else we got? We got, I guess the only two major topics left is like environmental and infrastructure.
Oof. Nothing gets me more going.
There was a lot of school safety stuff too. Do we care to go into any of that?
Any of it
Well, there
just
was
giving cash to not shoot
overall
school?
400-something million,
Yeah,
and then there
yeah.
was a random $4 million for safety initiatives at
For Jewish day schools.
Yeah, just specifically at Jewish day schools.
Yeah. I thought this one was kind of cool too. The budget maintains $10 million to get teachers certified to teach computer science courses. I thought that was kind of cool. I'm not sure how you get a teacher certified in something so advanced.
Just
That they
teach
can
them how to
teach.
use Microsoft Word.
Yeah, I think that's probably exactly what it means. But
They go
Yeah.
to college computing.
That's like one of those classes where your teacher is like super chill and you just play with like a freaking like, what are those called?
Flash
Car,
games?
like a electric car.
yeah, it's like the one teacher that's a stoner and like
Remote
sucks
control
at
car.
teaching anything else. So they're like, you know what? Just teach this class. You don't actually have to teach anything. You just
It was
sit
like
on your computer and
it was like
Pookie
my
lived in that
AutoCAD. My AutoCAD class, we literally just had a one of those big printers, and we would trace out like decals on AutoCAD and print out stickers.
Nice.
That's like all we did.
that's advanced right there.
It was sick though. My snowboard looked awesome.
There was another. I thought this was kind of cool too. This is still in the education stuff. The budget provides $6 million in total funding to establish two. Oh, just kidding. That's more cop money. The government also provides $6 million in total funding to establish two programs to support law enforcement officers. $5 million to establish the Law Enforcement Academy Scholarship, which I mentioned already, and then the $1 million out of state, which I mentioned already. Holding the line to it. Where was it? Oh, here it is. This. They've in the budget they have $6.5 million for students earning industry certifications in high skill, high demand areas at technical schools or technical centers. $14 million for students earning industry certifications at Florida colleges. $25 million in funding for the what is this? The Work Florida Student Success Incentive Fund, which is for like basically they're allocating a shit ton of money for like trade schools and like things
so
like
these
that.
are like in the form of like scholarships. Is that how that works?
Yeah, I'm assuming,
Yeah.
or it's just more infrastructure.
Yeah.
It doesn't. This one that we printed off doesn't.
No, it doesn't say.
That's the thing with any government budget. They never have like an itemized. This is exactly how we're going to spend the money.
So,
Yeah.
which I think is ridiculous.
but is this all for post high school stuff?
doesn't say?
So
That's
yeah,
the problem. It doesn't say.
because like the trade school thing is very interesting because
Hey, dude. Hey, watch that cigar.
what's going on?
You're burning the wire.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, it's just ash.
Oh,
Thank you though.
What a schmuck.
Well, it's hot.
I don't want to start an electrical fire.
It's just ash.
just
that's off
ash.
of my cigar. That's hot.
Speaking of trade schools, electrical fires. No, I think that's actually a really cool thing to, even though it's the state doing it, to kind of
Yeah.
be more
Overall, it was $534 million to support workforce education programs to ensure Florida students are prepared to fill high-demand, high-wage jobs and help Florida meet its goal of becoming first in the nation for workforce education by 2030. Yeah, so just a bunch of like trade stuff, and I thought that was cool. What I didn't think was cool is that on top of all the money that is being allocated for schools in general, there's a separate one specifically for black colleges and universities, which I don't understand. They're part of the same education system that's getting all this funding already. I don't know why they get special privilege. 17,000.
That's a hate crime just for you to say that.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. I'm pretty sure I can be charged for way worse with other things I've said. 17 million in operating funds for Bethune-Cookman University, 7 million in funds for Florida Memorial University, 7.4 million in operating funds for Edward Waters College, and 90 million in operating funds for FAMU. It's Florida A&M University.
Does Florida Memorial University think that Florida died?
I don't know.
You have to wonder about that, where the amount of money it probably costs for someone to go to one of these universities, and yet we still give them $90 million for infrastructure. That's crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all right.
Where's all that money going?
I don't know.
To the deans who make
The
$400
deans
million
poop hole.
$1 a year.
You know what it's for? It's for like a fountain out front and
Yeah, pretty fountain.
a bench.
Or they got to keep up with the
for a
Jones.
nice-
A $90,000 bench.
It's for nice photo ops for their Instagram account.
Yeah, they got to keep up with the Joneses. They got to put in their new heated pool.
They got to hire 15 diversity officers.
Yep.
Pay them.
Oh, Ash.
No, Ash
You've
on
been ashed.
himself.
Ash on the crotch.
You've been chosen.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know. It's just a bunch more bullshit for the education stuff. Bunch of school safety grants, special facility construction, maintenance. The Freedom Tower one's still confused. $25 million to preserve, refurbish, and enhance Miami-Dade College Freedom Tower.
Yeah, that's
You looked into that, right? You said?
yeah, that's part of the infrastructure, I think. I guess we can kind of move on to infrastructure. Yeah, the
Environment.
$25 million to maintain the Miami Freedom Tower, which I didn't know existed until today. But yeah, this is a building that was built in 1925 to be the headquarters for the Miami News newspaper. And it was used by the U.S. government in the 60s and the early 70s to process to process and as a medical center for refugees of the Cuban Revolution. So it's kind of like a historic landmark in that sense. It's almost like the Miami Ellis Island, you know? And it was sold into private hands in 1974 and added to the historic registry in 79. And then in 97, it was sold again into private hands for $4.1 million. By the way, Google this building, $4.1 million. It seems pretty cheap, but this is in the late 90s, which isn't that long ago.
Yeah, still for Miami property in the 90s,
$4.1 million. And I guess it was kind of in rough shape at that point, and they restored it to like its original.
Holy shit, that sold for $4 million?
Yeah,
Thing's
it's huge.
massive.
And there's freaking like 2,000 square foot houses on 1.5 acres in Vero going for like $1.5 million. So
That's
it's like an 8-story building. I
Yeah.
mean, granted, it's not like a huge footprint, but still,
it's kind of
it probably sold for so cheap because
aesthetic, too.
you can't really do anything with it, right? Being that it's a historic property.
Yeah, well, that happened. Yeah, that was in 97, so it was on the historic registry at that point. Yeah, they kind of have a lot of control over it.
Yeah, you can't really do shit.
Yeah, so that's they
Can't make it
restored
into a
it
hotel.
basically
Yeah.
to its original
Bummer.
what
Yeah.
it looked like originally. They like put up all these murals that used to be in the building and stuff, and they converted it into a Cuban American museum. And then in 2005, it was bought by a group called Terra Group, and they donated it to Miami-Dade College. And that's the story of how it became our responsibility to pay for it again.
Sounds like a good tax write-off.
Yeah,
We donate a fucking 8-story building.
in downtown Miami. Yeah, so now they control it, and it's still a Cuban American museum, and also it's an art museum. So
That's funny. It makes sense now knowing the history behind it. But when I first read it, I'm like, this fucking dickhead really built a statue and called it Freedom Tower because he's like, I don't know. I just feel like the whole like freedom hard on is like synonymous with Desantis. You know?
Yep.
He's like he puts freedom on the front of anything, and people are like, oh yeah, like yeah, let's go.
it was funny how he could kind of like worked this Freedom Tower thing into his freedom budget. You know, it was
Definitely some intern.
Freedom first.
Some
budget.
intern brought this to him. Like, we can do this. He's like, fuck yeah, we can.
He's like, you're
what
getting a
about
job
the-
after college, kid.
What about the Freedom Tower? They're like, oh yeah, it's good.
yeah.
This isn't just the budget; it's the Freedom First budget.
Yeah.
Oh,
Doesn't that kind of give you like I don't know? Whenever I hear that kind of stuff, like the freedom budget, it's almost like the Patriot Act. It's
Yeah, yeah.
It's like
It's like a dog whistle.
I don't know if I like this.
Yeah. Also in the infrastructure, there was a $105 million budget allocation for rural infrastructure fund, which is actually huge because last year it was $5 million.
And what is it now?
105.
So some would say it's got $100 more million.
Yeah.
Not some. That's what it is.
100.1 more million dollars.
wow.
Is that for all the sand they're just going to dump in the middle of the state for those roads?
Yeah. Just a bunch of dirt roads.
Damn, dude.
Yeah.
And also,
Yeah, imagine if the rural areas include beaches, and it's how they funded the beach restoration projects.
it would not surprise me. Holy, that is a shit ton of money.
Yeah. So that, and then you got $100 million for the Florida Jobs Growth Grant Fund, which I kind of looked into and is basically just workforce training and building infrastructure required for the workforce training. So like probably, I don't know, internet connection, things like that. Whatever they need for workforce training.
Dang.
$50 million recurring, which I'm not I guess that's like, it means it's guaranteed, I guess, in the future. I don't know. But for the Visit Florida, which is like I think a not-profit organization that does the travel advertisements and stuff.
Yeah. Like it has like a website.
Yeah.
Like-
So
Oh, I thought it was the place when as soon as you get into Florida on the 95, it's a building, but probably not.
yeah, well, maybe it's affiliated with
Yeah.
this group that does the travel stuff. But yeah, so $50 million to get more dipshits down here to get drunk and fuck everything up.
True.
Son of a gun.
True.
Yeah, and so I guess the budget for state transportation work, so like roads, bridges, wastewater, all that stuff, is $9.27 billion.
God.
So solid amount of chunk of change coming to civil engineers in the near future.
Got to keep those roads,
hoping.
man.
Who's gonna pay for the roads? There's your answer.
What about the roads?
The same people who are paying for them now. You.
It's about 10% of the full budget almost.
Wow.
Did you get a boner, you civil engineer guy?
I was like, that's pretty good. That's a good start.
Just like that's adequate.
They're like
a
the one
good
part, the one part of their budget here improves. Things like,
It's like
Yeah.
it's like your lobbyist group is like went hard for that.
I was hoping for 90 billion, but yeah, we'll work with it.
Jeez.
We'll work with it.
Are we still doing that? The infrastructure? Or are we moving on to environmental?
That's all I had written down for infrastructure.
So you're telling
I
me
don't-
there's no Daddy D statue being built?
no, not
At least
yet.
not
yet.
not
Yeah,
drawn
not
out.
yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
I guess we can. We'll briefly go through some of the health and human services stuff, just because it's a little bit easier, and then the environment. There was some good stuff. I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
huge on the tax stuff, but any money into the environment, being a outdoorsman, I kind of like to see. I wish it was spent a little bit better, but anyway. Health and services, there's some money going towards cancer stuff. $100 million in funding for Florida National Cancer Institute program, which is an increase of more than $37 million over current year funding. Child welfare, the Freedom First budget includes $133.9 million to provide service to those served by the child welfare system, which is pretty much just like Epstein's Island, but state funded.
The ones who were rescued.
Yeah, the ones who are rescued, they get put into this child welfare, which is even worse. Early childhood courts, which is basically Ghislaine, right? They put them into these situations. They're getting $2.1 million in funding. Opioid, the budget includes more than $82 million in total funding. This funding will provide evidence-based prevention service and supports. medication-assisted treatment, recovery services, and will enhance drug overdose surveillance.
So Narcan.
Narcan, yeah.
Wait, what was that last bit of that one?
Will enhance drug overdose surveillance.
What the fuck is that?
That's a great question.
That's what they were supposed to be doing with
it's
an
the
Epstein's
birds.
cell.
It's the birds, man.
It's the birds, yeah.
They're watching us.
But I don't know, anytime I see Desantis say, like, evidence-based, I kind of, like, raise my eye a little bit because he actually, like, using that same, air quotes, evidence-based not prevention, but that same, like, evidence basis, that's what, he kind of used to approach the whole COVID thing, and it seemed to work out pretty well. So
yeah,
who
he
knows?
was pretty. He was pretty evidence based on that one.
Based. So who knows? That could be good. I mean, if obviously we don't support taxes, but whatever, might work out. Putting seniors first, going along with this trend of freedom first and things first. $10 million in funding for over 1,000 seniors. Oh, for Alzheimer's disease initiatives. This is boring. It's just a bunch of shit like this.
I mean, they don't even know they're getting help, so why does it matter?
Yeah, they're just like, what's going on?
Now, what if it was to buy ammunition to
Euthanize? I think there's easier ways besides ammunition.
You still said it right.
Yeah, I know. I was hoping no.
All that effort.
And
we never got there.
ammunition.
Ammunition.
What a weird disease. Right?
Yeah.
You just forget everything and
This fucking sounds terrible.
What's bizarre about that disease is what you actually die from is your body stops doing what it's supposed to autonomously.
Huh.
yeah.
Yeah, which is, I mean,
Like you stop sleeping, pretty much.
well,
And your brain falls apart.
I mean, not only that, your body stops doing, like your heart stops beating because your brain isn't telling it to,
Right,
things
right,
like
right.
that.
It's almost like.
But it has a lot to do with like the lack of like your body like resting and stuff like when it's supposed to.
Is that what it is?
I don't know. I'm maybe making that up.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
not
you're
a
making that
doctor,
up.
but
Well,
I mean, you
it's
can
like
die
that.
of lack
sleep
of
has a
sleep.
huge part of it.
Yeah.
It's a huge part of that. Yeah,
Yeah, you don't fucking know.
and melatonin.
Are you just saying we have to give them melatonin and they should kick Alzheimer's out?
Oh my
Apparently,
god!
there's like a condition that can happen where you can either recover from it or you just die, where you just like can't sleep. Like it's just a condition where you can't sleep,
Jeez.
and so like you either die eventually because you have to sleep, or you like somehow recover eventually.
Why do you have to sleep though?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Yeah,
A recharge, you're like a Tesla.
we should put a CBD commercial in right here.
Right?
Yeah.
There you go. We could do that.
Yeah, in the health portion of it, I saw a lot of kind of like just plans, not really a lot of budget stuff. And the thing I was looking at, they were talking about how Florida's led the nation in expanding access to telehealth, which is like healthcare through like apps or over the phone and things like that, which has been kind of crucial during COVID because people are like struggling to get doctor's appointments, and when they do get in, they're waiting in waiting rooms for like 8 hours and shit, and having to jump through all sorts of hoops before you can like go in and take tests and whatever the hell you gotta do nowadays. But hopefully they're not doing the butthole swabs like over there in China. But the other thing was one of their goals is to increase price transparency between like the insurance companies and the people, receiving the health care, which apparently has helped Florida's individual like premiums decline over the past few years. So they're just planning on keeping that going, I guess.
God, I feel like every time I hear like the government fiddling
Transparency.
with transparency, fiddling with
that word.
healthcare.
There's certain words that, like, when I hear them, I'm just like, yeah, bullshit. Like, transparency is one of those words. I'm like,
Yeah, well, transparency with healthcare prices. I'm just like, oh fuck, dude. Here come the price increases
yeah.
for whatever reason.
Yeah, no, I guess, because that's one of the big problems with insurance, right? Is like, you don't know how much shit's going to cost until you get the bill in the mail, and then you get the bill, and it just says, like, one line item, and it's like $4,500. You're just like, wait, what?
Yeah, right.
So, I don't know. I guess they're trying to fix that.
They're trying to fix the problem they created.
Yeah. I don't think you're going to fix that problem with more government, but we'll see how they do with it. Mm-hmm. I think that's all I had, really. $8 million to remove illegal immigrants from Florida. That's kind of a side note.
Based.
So stupid. It's so God. The things that like all that money to police officers, and he still has to be like, we still gotta get rid of those illegals.
Yeah, just like another $8 million for that specific task of law enforcement.
Which is weird. Like why can't they just? I don't know how this works, but I can't see why it would cost $8 million to just put them in a boat, drive them 3 miles offshore, and then kick them off the boat. You know.
I'm assuming it's trying to find them first, right?
Maybe.
I mean, because
there's a lot of stuff in this budget that like Floridians would do for free.
Yeah, I would
Just
do that
for the thrill.
Yeah. I'll load the pontoon up and take them 3 miles offshore.
what I would do,
My dad's oil rig.
I would rather keep those people. I probably like those people more than the people that are here.
Yeah.
I just dump a whole bunch of New Yorkers off in the middle of the ocean.
Imagine if it was $8 million.
We want more Mexicans, less New Yorkers.
Yeah, imagine if it was $8 million to make becoming a citizen easier. Well, I guess that's not in the hands of Desantis, but
I'm sure. I mean,
see, this is a perfect example, a perfect time for him to just
be cool.
secede from the nation. Yeah, and say, you know what? We'll take bring all the Mexicans.
Dude, if he said that,
and then build a wall.
We're building shit out
The
here.
Panhandle.
Yeah.
Across the street. He'd be
Like, he was
we
like-
don't want anybody else.
He
We're
makes
trying to keep
himself
Americans out.
he makes himself the dictator and Trump's his second hand.
he's like, we're putting $8 million towards Florida's own private citizenship.
Yeah.
That'd be like,
Just the Republic of Florida.
and he's like, you can become
Maybe that's his move.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think it is. He's building an army, right?
Oh yeah,
DeSantis' boys.
Yeah. I don't know.
the hands of Minutemen.
What an interesting thing that would have happened.
That won't happen, but that'd be cool, right?
Do you remember when like illegal immigrants was like a big thing?
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Like all people talk
it
about.
still gets brought up every now. But remember, like it was like back when Bush,
Thing.
it was like they're gonna take our jobs,
Yeah.
and now it's like,
during those
well,
South
we need
Park
people to take
episodes.
jobs right now, so maybe we should keep them.
Yeah.
Right now we're like, who's gonna work?
yeah,
Who's going to wait tables? Like,
Who's gonna do all the things that you dumb Americans aren't going to do?
yeah.
yeah.
Because they went to high school and were told they could be anything, and they wasted.
You can be an
200
astronaut. Like,
Dude,
dude,
so smart.
Dan's not going to be an astronaut.
Just pay
chill.
$50,000 a year to go to this college,
Yeah, cheap.
and then forget how to get a job.
The podcast is sponsored today by Analology, a breakthrough supplement line with a rectal breaking science. No reason to delay the bioavailability of your supplements any longer. With Analology's patented ash shoot technology, our specialized China surplus personalized supplements can reach your system faster than any other on the market. No need to wait for digestion, no lag time for pre-workout to hit. Save money and space on those protein shakers. Our supplements are created to work with our ash shoot conduit. In 3 easy steps, you can be ready to go regardless of the time. Rip open pouch of desired supplement, shove anus in air, stuff the conduit in anus, pour bag down conduit with half cup of water. Use the code on the rocks in my anus for 80% off your first order. Don't let the gain slip you by anymore. Shove your ass up and get jacked.
So I guess the last section is the environmental stuff. I had $660 million for Everglade restoration.
Yeah, that's
Pretty big chunk for Everglade
it's gonna be a lot of
restoration.
What? I mean, Mike.
I don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah,
exactly.
not to break you guys up, but like just like
They have it. They have it itemized out here. $86.5 million for restoration. Well, I say itemized. It's
Like
not.
playing the
Yeah,
drums over
right.
there?
I think Emily's building Karen's coffin.
Oh,
Oh, is that happening in the house?
Yeah.
Golly, man. I'm like, who's hammering something?
Your wife.
She's building a dresser.
Sure.
I'm
Yeah.
glad I'm out here.
Or a coffin.
Don't judge me.
$86.5 million for restoration strategies. $372 million for comprehensive Everglades restoration plan, which includes $175 million for expedited projects. $69 million for the EAA reservoir to continue the momentum of this critical project to reduce harmful discharges and help send more clean water south to the Everglade. $50 million is included for specific project components designed to achieve the greatest reductions in harmful discharges of the Caloosahatchee and St. Lucie estuaries as identified in the Comprehensive Everglades Restoration Plan. $83.3 million is included for Northern Everglades and Estuaries Protection Programs.
The Northern Everglades.
Fuck, I know what I know.
What is the difference?
Southern Everglades gang all the way.
It's like,
Well, I mean,
yeah, when I hear this, it just sounds, one, you can't do anything with the Everglades. So, like, obviously the big impact is, like, the water runoff, right? That's, like, what you could point to that gets put into the Everglades that shouldn't be there. But other than that, like, you can't touch it. Like, what are we storing? We're storing things that people haven't touched?
Yeah.
Besides the water, obviously, like I stated. I mean, when I hear about this...
It's $660 million to undo the shit that we've done over the years.
that's exactly what it is.
But we haven't...
We're solving a problem that they created.
But we haven't done shit besides discharge water into it.
Well,
Well,
I mean, there's
you
been
know,
a lot.
I
with
mean,
the sugar and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Navy
That's just
and
part of the water, though. Like,
the Army.
it's been a thing that you can't touch for a many decade, I believe.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's the shit that we did decades ago that
Right.
we're now having to undo.
The last time I was in the Everglades, I sat upon a cypress stump and
I'm gonna
heard the ghost of Osceola cry.
Well, no, was it, one of the main issues with the Everglades is that we like pumped the water out of it and dried it out, and then sent the water out to the St. Lucie and the
Castor-Sachaluchi?
yeah, that one.
Yeah.
And so if you're gonna restore it, you have to
Caloosahatchee.
you have to undo that.
You have to find water and put it back in.
No, you have to allow the water to run through the Everglades and filter off as it goes back into the ocean. But right now, we're saying, no, water, go there. Go there
I'm just saying, this sounds almost like the homeless problem in California, where it's just a fund to pay people six figures continuously for the rest of their lives.
Well, I mean, other than the fact that, like, there is an actual problem, right?
Well, yeah, there's the actual homeless problem, too.
Yeah.
Hey, why
But I
don't
don't
you
think
just
they're
put the
going to be able to
homeless
solve that
people?
problem.
I don't put the homeless people in the Everglades.
They can divert the water back to the Everglades.
Well, that's it. This is a great idea.
I'm just, like, I know there's a problem with Everglades.
Forced labor. You could pay them, but you're forcing them to clean up the...
Wait, is that slavery?
No, I think they should
We can pay 'em a
take
dollar.
a big straw and
Maybe.
suck all the water up and
Just,
let it cycle through their body as they piss it out.
I don't know. It just sounds, look, there's a problem, but
My
I think
favorite
it's little
budget
much.
allocation was $300 million to address the Burmese pythons in the Everglades.
Dude.
Now, this is another one of those things that I feel like Floridians would do for free.
Yes.
Oh,
just
they
open a
absolutely
season
do it
on
for
them.
free.
But
Yeah.
And I think they
here's
do
the
do
thing,
for
though.
free.
I did some math here. So, I guess the last time they did like a hard count, which they don't actually know how many.
Raise your
pythons
hand
are
if
in
you're
the
a Burmese
Everglades.
python.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, in 2009, the South Florida Water Management District estimated that there was between 5,000 and 180,000 pythons in the Everglades. Yeah, and then in 2013, they had a little bit more of a rounded down number. It was 30,000 to 150,000. So it's, who knows? It's
They
up
don't
in the
know.
air. But here's the thing:
idea,
if you make it, 100 a pop, for a python, that's freaking 30,000. That's 30,000 pythons. So we're hitting the bottom of that estimate right there. So just say, hey, Floridians, 100 a pop, bring in some pythons.
Yeah, and like you said, I
for
know
sure.
people that will do that shit for free.
Yeah, just
So
look up
30
Python Cowboy on Instagram.
100 a pop is even very
I mean,
high.
in its own way, it's created like an industry, right? Where people charter people out there,
Yeah.
and they kill these things, and that's what
They
literally.
wrestle them with their bare hands.
This is so funny, bro. There was like some random couple like came to my church, like older couple. The guy kind of looked like he was a scientist or something, And then I started talking to him, and like that's what they do for fun. Is they
Pythons.
hire somebody to take them down there, and they kill these pythons. I was like, it was
sick.
like mind blowing because they didn't fit that. But that's what they like to do,
That's awesome.
and they had the money to do it. So I mean, I don't know. There's like a little
Let's do
whole
it.
industry.
I
yeah.
mean, dude, people get on boats and go into the marsh with giant forks and stab frogs.
Yeah,
for fun. So
well, that too. Yeah. No, for sure. But I don't know. I don't know why I brought that up, but
That was good. I like it.
It was interesting. I was like, oh, people do
Thanks
that.
for the story.
Yeah. A couple other just stats I had written down here was that, so apparently ever since the Burmese pythons were introduced to the Everglades, which was in the late 80s or early 90s. Mm-hmm. So in the 90s, they had a count of how many deer there were, how many rabbits, how many fox. I'm just naming those three specifically because I have numbers on those. But when they recounted them between the years of 2003 and 2011, they found that the white-tailed deer population declined by 94%.
Yeah, that's insane.
Shit.
And they didn't find a single fox or rabbit.
Not based animals, that's for sure.
Yeah. They
You're
didn't
getting
count
tore
a
up,
single
dude.
fox
Pussies.
or rabbit. So they could possibly be gone from the Everglades at this point, fox and rabbit.
Hey, that's not the first thing. That
This was something I saw that I didn't like, and I think you guys will agree. $3.8 million for the care and management of manatees.
God. See, I thought I saw Desantis said to hatchet them mercilessly.
With flashbangs. That's what I thought, but
Yeah.
apparently his bill...
How much
is,
iceberg
must have
lettuce
flipped
does that buy?
He must have
The
flip flopped
hand
on that one. How much?
$3.8 million.
Oh, that's a lot of iceberg
mean-
lettuce.
Yeah.
It's funny because obviously that's like still a shit ton of money. Like someone just drops $3.8 million on your door, you're like, I have a good life. But out of everything else, like we're seeing, $100 millions, billions of dollars. Like he's like, just give him 3.8.
I'd want to know. I'm
Well, yeah,
curious to know what the per manatee funding is, because aren't there only like a couple thousand manatees?
One could hope.
That's
It's that little.
way too
Because
many.
wouldn't it be funny if the per manatee funding was higher than the per student funding?
Oh my god!
I don't think it is.
It's like 20,000 per manatee.
As of January 2018, at least 6,100 are estimated to be in Florida.
Oh shit!
Now
it's
take
gonna-
away 1,000 because
it's
somebody
gonna be
died this
close.
last year, right? So it's say 5,000.
So 3.8.
Okay, this is 2021. There are around 7,500 manatees in Florida. This is from CNN, though. So
Was that beginning of the year or middle of the year? Or what? When was that?
It's actually 10,000.
This
Alright,
was
that's only like $500
12th.
per manatee.
Yeah.
Goddamn. Almost. We almost had that one.
A healthy manatee should eat 10% of its body weight per day.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah,
100 pounds of seagrass a day. We talked about this, but
a lot
that's
of seagrass. A lot of seagrass, folks.
A lot of seagrass.
Sharpen those hatchets.
Hey, you mentioned flashbangs. Can we buy flashbangs?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's good.
Not like the military like grade ones. I think they're like weaker,
different.
but you can definitely buy them.
Really?
The company right in Florida, actually.
Is it just like a radius thing, or is it like a strength? Or is it
I'm
both?
sure it's both. I'm sure it has to be under a certain like sound,
Yeah.
like decibel, some sort of flash. I don't know. I'm not
It
sure.
would definitely like confuse Emily, like if we like toss one in the bedroom with her.
Oh no,
for
they're
sure.
still fucking loud.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? I think it has to do with how much
How much sauce?
like propellant, not propellant, but like how much powder is in them, like how much explosive is in them. Because I think at a certain point it can become,
It's like a,
like a
is it
real
like
flashbang.
a Roman candle, or is it like a
Right. Well, it's like the same thing with fireworks. Fireworks can have so much powder
Per
Yeah.
to be legal,
then you just open it up. and-
unless you buy them from Jimbo in the shed in
super-
Fellsmere.
then you just buy them
I
and
got
you just
some
combine two
fireworks.
together, anyways.
The ones that explode 5 feet off of the ground.
It's just like a super dragon mortar firework, just put into like a beer can.
Dude, remember that year we got some? We were doing them at your dad's, and we had the couple that like literally went up about 10 feet and then just exploded.
Yeah.
Like big ass mortars.
yeah, those were fun.
There wasn't like enough propellant.
I don't know.
That
I
is
don't know.
that is like part of it for me with fireworks. Like I hope something goes wrong.
Yeah,
You know?
Yeah, right?
It's not
Yeah.
fun until something.
It's like
goes
NASCAR.
wrong.
Yeah, I'm like, it'd be pretty fun if this mortar just like fell on its side.
And
Yeah.
shot directly into my dad's garage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That happened on the beach, like the first 4th of July that I was here. We're shooting fireworks off on the beach with firefighters, so it was okay.
Yeah.
But the fucking thing fell over, and there was like a bunch of mortars in there, and they were just like shooting down the beach, and then like exploding.
Some old guys on the other side, and he's like having flashbacks to Nom.
Yeah, he's like digging a fucking bunker in the sand over there. You're just like, oh, whoops.
I don't know. That's my theory with fireworks. I'm like, yeah, I hope something goes wrong.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
with
I agree with you. If somebody doesn't lose a hand, it's kind of
Yeah.
not good.
Yeah,
It's not. It's
I mean,
not good.
Look at Jason Pierre-Paul, the football player,
Lost his
blew like 2 of his fingers off or something.
Ow.
Still going strong.
left or right hand.
I don't know.
He may have not had a good time, but somebody else had a good time.
Oh, yeah, everybody around me
I
had a
was
great
like
time.
excited for
Right.
him. You know, so
Maybe
that's-
not for him, but about the situation.
yeah, not for him, but just like
Well, the
this is
Cardinals
exciting.
ended up getting a good deal on him after that because nobody wanted to take a chance on him, and he ended up
nobody wanted
still being good. So
Free finger
Yeah.
Jim.
Well, how many fingers do you really need? You know?
Yeah, how much? I mean, losing 2 fingers on a hand, like, does that really change how you catch a football?
yeah, and he's a defensive lineman.
I can
so
think of
he's
a
just-
few things
Yeah,
that
so you
changes.
didn't need to catch footballs.
Yeah.
One of them being how many fingers you can put into a butthole.
That's
What does that have to do with football? Exactly.
Well, I'm sure a lot actually.
Are we going back? Robert Kraft, Jeffrey Epstein.
We're circling back to that.
Robert Kraft.
I don't know. Do we have anything else? This was kind of boring.
It wasn't. I mean, it is, but I think we had fun with it.
Yeah, well, I think being a
It's good to know about it,
obviously
too.
a Florida podcast, we kind of I feel like every once in a while we have to do the boring stuff, because
And just to reinstate it,
just
how
have
many billions of dollars is this?
this was $100 billion, $99.7 billion budget.
$100 billion.
Wow.
I guarantee you, there's like a reason why they went right below 100. Like just for optics.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Because this is a Republican budget, so it's got to be below 100. If it was
Yeah.
a Democrat budget, it'd be 101 point whatever.
7.
like, oh my god, it's under 3 digits.
And there'd be
Well,
less, there'd be
it's
less cop
actually
stuff.
way over 3 digits, but
less cop stuff.
3
more
billion,
education
3
stuff.
digits to the billion.
Yeah. It's a lot of zeros, man.
Yeah, but yeah, that's
A lot
the
of
thing.
billions.
It looks a lot different when you see the actual. It's one thing to read 10 million, but it's another to read 1,000,000,000,000.
0.00.
Yeah, and then billion.
Zero.
Another couple.
That's tough.
What do you guys think? Anything else?
I don't know. How was everybody's New Year?
Pretty solid.
I don't think it's our first post New Year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to Grind and Grape and had a terrible time. So
Sounds like a typical grind and grape experience.
We had a pretty good time.
Oh, yeah. Are we going to introduce a special guest?
Yeah. Yes.
I thought about that. We skimmed right over that.
Yes.
Cameron, you want to
Special
introduce?
guest tonight
You brought it, didn't you?
is
Or was it-
black mango tea.
There you
Yeah.
go.
We're drinking tea, folks.
Yeah, we all decided to do dry January. It was that Chris initiated the idea, and we were like, for it to work, we all have to do it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and when he first brought it up, we're like, that sounds like a terrible idea. And then we thought about
Yeah,
it, and
you
we're
guys
like,
weren't on
that
board
actually
at first.
sounds like a really good idea.
yeah.
You guys are like, oh, no, I'm not doing that dry January shit. That's gay.
and then New Year's came,
Yeah.
and went, and it was like, that sounds like a great
know
idea.
what?
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I felt like shit this last week.
Same.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You had withdrawals?
I didn't put 2 and 2 together, but it could be that. Yeah, I've been working
I
on
felt
that.
fine,
I've been working on
honestly.
that desk, and I haven't done like anything with like wood or like construction dust in a while. So I pretty sure it was a sinus infection I've had the last week.
Yeah.
Could have been Flora Corona COVID Delta variant, but
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah. Almost
Yeah, I also felt
Um,
terrible.
Yeah, one thing I notice is I usually have like chronic heartburn, and I haven't really had heartburn ever since I stopped drinking altogether. So
Yeah.
it's been pretty
pretty nice.
solid.
I have that too. But it doesn't matter what I drink. I just have
Yeah.
It just happens.
it.
I'm glad I don't
Yeah.
have that.
Well, I got COVID, so that sucked. But
All right. Calm down.
no, I'm better.
You're in Florida.
Cameron finally got it.
I got it.
I'm
yeah.
the last Mohicans, huh?
I got the sauce, and it wasn't great, but what are you gonna do?
The magic
Do you
sauce.
wish at any point were you like, damn, maybe I should have just fucking got the vaccine?
No, not really.
No, not
I almost
really.
got
or no?
I almost got the monoclonal antibodies.
Yeah, you pussed out. What happened?
Well, what happened is I wanted them when I was not feeling great. But
Yeah.
the problem is, like, you sign up for them, and it's like, oh, you can get them next week on Tuesday. It's like, I don't want
You're gonna be over it.
monoclonal antibodies next week. You know?
Yeah, it's weird. I was kind of wondering that. I was like, how do people? Because most of these treatments are like early on treatments. Like,
Yeah.
if you don't get
For them to be effective, right?
yeah, both the, if you're going to take ivermectin or if
Yeah.
you're going to do the monoclonal, it's all stuff that, like, if you wait 2-3 days after
Yeah.
you find out you have it, it's, like, not even worth taking
Yeah,
anymore.
so that struck me as like pretty silly, the whole thing.
So like,
It's like I want to be able to I wanted to take something. I was okay with taking something. I would have definitely taken something if it was accessible. But like we know, there's not really anything that's accessible.
so you're saying that like you literally went to a website and it's like book your appointment for next week.
No, it actually wasn't that far out. It was like it was like Wednesday or Thursday, and I got sick on Sunday. So, but I mean, once I broke the fever, I would just
my boy Tony down at the LA Fitness, he's got something for you, man.
Yeah. So you're telling
It's
me
an
that
injectable.
you're telling me that it's possible that all the stuff that Joe Rogan talks about early treatment and all the stuff he gets his friends once they get the COVID within 24 hours.
Yeah.
There may be a thing, about
having
correlation between having money and getting early treatment.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Some would say, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. If you have a doctor,
A private doctor.
a private doctor who's just like got the kitchen sink or whatever,
Yeah.
But that's not reality
Yeah.
for a normal person. But-
Yeah, that was like whenever I had it, or when I got hit by that F-250. I mean, my father-in-law like had ivermectin, so I was like,
Oh, that's
fuck yeah.
sweet. Yeah.
You did take it when you got it?
Yeah, I took it like
Oh,
the
nice.
second day that after I found out I had it.
Yeah. Once you got it, I was
Stop
like,
horsing around.
shit, maybe I should have like just a plan, like just
Yeah,
when I do get it,
Yeah. No, I honestly, like hindsight, I was like, I should have like gotten some of this stuff
Yeah.
somehow.
Yeah.
Black
Yeah,
market.
my girlfriend's father, he has it, so I do have access to that. Which
Nice.
Hookups.
Yeah. Got the hookups.
True. That's
The
what
horse-
you gotta
got
have.
the horse dewormer.
You gotta have the hookups.
Yeah.
If not, you just go to Tractor Supply. They have a ton of it.
Just squeeze the horse goo.
Just sucking it down. This is grow a big old horse. I mean,
Big old horse.
No, hey, hindsight, have a little bit of a plan.
yeah.
I mean, don't be like me and think that it's impossible for you to get it, and then you get it.
I mean, the way,
I still don't think I can get it, but
the way DeSantis made it seem, he almost sounded like you could just drive down to the Omicron hut and stab it right into you.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if I thought like I was dying, maybe he could have made like a greater effort, but I was just like,
Yeah.
I didn't want to get off the couch.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's also again tied into our theme of our podcast. It is a government-run preventative plan.
yeah.
So it's not like you can just go to your like local First Med or hospital or even like your own private doctor because they can't have it.
yeah.
Yeah, true. And also, like when these things like spur up and they come in waves, everybody gets it at once.
Right, yeah.
So it's like you're trying to get something that also freaking thousands and thousands of other people are trying to get in the same town. So
Yeah, because you were like one of like 14 people I know that got COVID the last week.
oh, for sure. Yeah. My job,
Which I think I don't think it's that surprising. I think we all expected that, right? With
Yeah.
the holiday season, everyone
Oh, for
kind
sure.
of doing the family
I
shit.
mean-
and it's kind of what we talked about before. It just happened to be like it's a seasonal thing, and the spike just happened to happen around the holidays this time around.
Yeah.
Last time around, it was in like,
Summer.
August, July, and August.
right.
I mean, sometimes we might have to eat our own words. The White House did tell us for the unvaccinated, it would be a Christmas of.
it
Death
was
and
after
despair.
Christmas though, so they're wrong.
Ooh, yeah, that's right.
Right?
Some semantics.
Fuck you, White House.
It was a holiday season of death and despair.
Yep. It's actually a New Year's of death and despair, you dumb bitches.
Way to go.
Technically, the
dumbass.
Christmas season didn't end until yesterday.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Mhm.
I had no idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's like a Christmas season.
Well,
He's playing the music. I guess we're done.
yeah. I'm like you're just like rambling, not saying anything. Yeah. Hopefully 2020 is going to be as fun as 2021 with you
Yeah.
guys.
Oh, I want to mention while you're scrolling us out, obviously we highly want you guys to share us, share us with friends, hit us up on Instagram, follow us. Spotify now has a rating system, so you can give us 5 stars on there if you,
Oh, fuck yeah.
if you're listening to us, we're the best.
Yeah, if you want to give us a 5 stars, go ahead. If you want to give us less than 5 stars, just go ahead and don't rate us.
And then immediately kill yourself. It's